welcome back. I'm back here for a 6-hour episode of Calling the Audible, as well double what they did last Thursday on today's episode.
It turns out when you're drinking, you lose track of time.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
I'm sure you
did. So I don't know if I mentioned it live on air or not, but what actually happened was both for Division 5 and 4, I forgot those divisions were divided in half. And then so I spent 20 minutes on division, but then had to spend another 20 minutes on the other half of the division because I can't just not talk about the division, right? So, a little mistiming. Thank you to whoever toughed it up, but whatever. You get free extra shit, so don't complain.
I got complaints from some people. I'm like 4 hours. What are you talking about?
So wait, people complained about getting free stuff.
No, that it was 4 hours. I'm like,
but 4 hours of paid stuff or free stuff?
Whatever, the content that was
but free or paid?
I don't know.
So they complain about free stuff.
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Also, I want to point out the fact that for any division you listen to, you can just click the timestamp in the description to get exactly where you want to listen to.
Some are loyal
it,
listeners
so.
and viewers.
Learn how to use the internet, bruh.
Some people listen to the show and
so
watch
then,
it.
then they should be loyal.
Yeah, someone was like, 4 hours. I'm like,
It
what
wasn't
the
4
hell?
hours. Just 3:15.
3 hours and 27 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a
4
lot, man.
hours.
That's a lot.
Out of here.
That is equivalent. That is shorter than the Yankee Red Sox game on a
There we go.
Tuesday night.
There we go. It's slightly longer than the Batman.
It is. Oh, how long was Batman?
3 hours, 3:10, I think.
You know, quickly before I don't go off topic here. So,
I'm going to go off topic several
we
times.
always do. Jordan Palmer, who's the brother of Carson Palmer, former NFL player, quarterback coach.
Yeah.
He actually had an app, a movie app, of when to go
To
take
the
a
washroom,
pee
yeah.
to the washroom during a movie, right? So
The correct answer is never. Just don't
Yeah.
fucking piss yourself in the middle of a movie.
Yeah, but if you get yourself a big jumbo-sized drink, what the
Don't.
bleep are you gonna do?
Just don't
Hold it.
spend $8
Don't
on a soda.
Be an adult. Hold your pee.
Try to.
I guess if you're going with kids, though, sometimes kids want to leave, but then you force them. Like, no, you gotta wait another 17 minutes.
Yeah, pee in the bucket.
Speaking of movies, Lin-Manuel Miranda's up to get an EGOT. If he wins a Grammy, he will have won an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony.
His rarefied company.
But they chose the wrong song. They didn't choose We Don't Talk About Bruno, which would have instantly won. Everyone's child has been singing that song nonstop since
I forgot
Encanto
to turn on the
came
clock,
out.
by the way.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a start for the show.
We're at 3 minutes.
So technically speaking, we can start the show now because it is now officially FPS.
I'll give you
time.
3 more minutes.
Perfect.
Yeah, so now we only have to go for 324.
Exactly. 324, maybe 321, however we want to look at it. All right, let's dive into Div 1, Div 2. So big week, Peas. The Braves, a little bit of a skittish couple weeks here. Are you more surprised that the Braves have lost 2 in a row, or that they've already have 2 losses at the midway point of the season?
The 2 in a row is shocking to me. Right? Like, so, I mean, I guess you don't expect Braves to lose 2 games at all. But I don't think there's ever been a time in their history that that they've lost 2 games in a row. And to be fair, they lost to the All-Stars and the reigning Division 1 champs and Flag Sac. But this game kind of played into Flag Sac's favor, right? Like, Flag Sac wants to run. They just want to score and score and score. They don't want any defense to be played. And, 57-56, that's, to me, if you're going to lose a game to Flag Sac, that's the way you're going to lose that game, right?
Yeah, and I think in the case that it was, I mean, Joe Mayo played okay, and Alex Nadeau-Pius had a couple bad INTs.
But 9 touchdowns.
9 touchdowns, yes, 9 touchdowns.
Is that still the single game record? 9 touchdowns.
But when you look at the game itself, I mean, Braves had control of it in the first half, and then they just couldn't move the ball, and they faltered, and they had some glitches. And the next thing you know, Flagmore Sac's up, and then it's going back and forth, back and forth. And
I say they controlled it, but like they took Flagmore Sac took a lead into halftime.
They did, and
11 touchdowns is the actual most passing in a game by Marco Mathiotra in winter 2017 Division 2.
Yeah, that's right, the Div 2 team against that crappy team that was like
Yeah.
Div 7, right?
Frank LeBeau has 10 in winter 2017 Division 2, and then afterwards there's a multitude of people at 9.
Everyone was taking their shots at that team, basically.
Yeah, it was more like who can. Anyway, but I think credit has to go to Flagmore Sac because, again, to beat the Braves in the way that they did, high scoring and fair, you figured that better defense would have prevailed, which it wasn't the case in the Braves argument. And now for the Braves, they're at 3-2. Flagmore Sac has that tiebreaker for now, and I wonder if the Braves can get back into that conversation as being a 1 or 2 seed. Moving towards the final 5 games of the year.
I mean, I think they will. I don't think it matters that they're still the best team in the division. And to win the championship, they'll have to go through likely All Stars or Flag Masak or both of those teams. So I don't think the seeding matters a ton in Division 1. What I was really impressed by is the way Alex Nadeau's basically narrowed the game down to 2 plays, right? And they gave up the 24-yard gain to Alex Pilon. But it's not easy. As good as Joe Mayo is, it's hard to go for the end zone when the world knows you're going for the end zone, right? So it's about as well as you can play that situation. I'm hoping for this to be a playoff rematch because I think that All-Stars and Braves play similar enough that generally it'll favor the Braves because I just think that the Braves are a slightly better version of what All-Stars are. But Flag One Sec, it's just that wild. They're just like a wild card. You know what I mean? Like it's tough to match up with what they're going to do.
Yeah, they'll have the rematch in 2 weeks at Lachine.
But I'm saying like in the playoff atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like that's obviously.
But that will tell us who will be 1, 2, or 3, right?
But like if they split the series, we have no information, right? Like,
no.
I'm going to throw a little twist in this conversation. Do you think if the Gryffindor had Dan Lazara back for their game in week 3, that they might have actually lost 3 in a row?
No. Because, and funny enough, I score kept that Gryffindor game that they had for the win. And AJ asked me after, what do you think? I go, your defense has to improve. And I think for Lazaro, given that he was off for so long from flag football, that I said one more week of Dan getting back into rhythm, I think you guys would be okay. But that Gryffindor defense has to improve because there was a play that they had, and they were playing God's Skills, I beg your pardon. It was, I think, like 3rd and 33 or 3rd and 32. And they hit it for a 33-yard first down completion inside the 1. Like, I mean, inside the 2, right? Like, that can't happen. Like, you have athletes, and you let that happen. And I think I want to see them now in this next sample size that they have. They have God Skills coming up again, I believe. But if they can improve and Lazar gets back into the rhythm that he was last year or 2 years ago or 2 seasons ago, then they'll be okay. And I think they'll be in that conversation as well.
We also you talked about the athleticism, that tiptoe catch by David Santomo that was posted by Chris Rive on our socials, right before as he was setting up for a game of the week. It was cool to see. God Skills, like they're always sort of that team on the outside, right? Like they're not quite the same talent level as the rest of the guys, but individually their players are all incredibly talented, right? So that was a cool reminder of the fact that God Skills can still play. You know what I mean? They're definitely a worthy Div 1 team. It just Div 1 being such a small grouping that it is, it's hard for the fourth best team to legitimately compete. Even though they, to your point, Mo, they took Gryffindor to 33-30, like
absolutely
down to the line. And
with the All Stars at 3-1, even though they don't have the tiebreaker on Braves, do you think they can hold on to number 2 and be in that 1 versus 2 matchup in mid-May when we have our playoffs?
Yeah, but again, the standings are legitimately meaningless, save for the one team that doesn't make the playoffs, right? So,
I think
Div 1.
I think the Braves. I beg your pardon. I think the All Stars will have an argument to say that they can make a run for first place.
Yeah, but what does it matter?
I think it does though.
For
because
what? Give me an explanation as to what it matters.
So here's let's say the Braves are your 3 and the All Stars are your 2 seed, right? So it's a double elimination essentially. So the Braves are going to be playing single elimination.
But you likely need to play the Braves anyway.
Yeah, but
if you don't, you have to play Flag 1 Sec. Like to me, it doesn't ultimately matter. Like you're either playing the team who's heavily favored to win, the team. So one of those 3 teams along the way will have to play one or both of the best quarterback in FPF history, the defending champions, or the Braves, who are the odds-on favorite. And if not, by the way, Gryffindors are an explosive offense. So, like, I don't think it matters. It only matters basically for Gryffindor to lock up that 4 seed over God Skills. And if God Skills can upset them and make the playoffs, to me, that's the only wild storyline there could be.
You want to have the insurance policy of the double elimination in your back pocket.
Okay, but what's the benefit?
But if you're in 3, that means you lose once, you're out.
Okay, so yes, you're right. There's
that's
a double
my point,
elimination.
right?
Okay, yeah.
That's my point.
All right, there you
right?
go. So there you go. That's the one point you
that's
have.
my point,
yeah.
right? Like,
fine. I forgot about that. All right, I forgot.
like what you talking about, man? It's double
I'm as
elimination.
rusty as Dan Lazaro was the first week. That's all. That's all it is.
Oh man,
I forgot that was a thing.
Yeah,
it was a really good idea by FPF to add a game. And I just
so
forgot.
that's why for the All Star, that's my argument though, right? For the All Star,
Yes.
that number 2 spot though, now could they have the argument to say like we can make a run towards
They-
chance to be in that one.
I mean,
or two spot.
they're in control of that, right? So, essentially, they can't really lose, and they don't have Braves again on the schedule. So, if they win out, they have at least the second seed.
Right.
So, you know what I mean?
It's gonna be fascinating because you're right though. With the Gryffindor, I think will have a big factor in this whole process with All Stars in particular and Braves, because Braves do play Gryffindor, I believe, in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks.
Do you think like Gryffindor's defensive troubles are an actual issue, or will they get better throughout the season
I
because
hope
they
it
played
gets
less
better.
games, right?
I hope it's better because they got athletes, but that, I don't know. I mean, I was telling AJ, I go, you guys have athletes. This is a question of understanding your concepts. I don't think they understand that. Some guys, I'm not saying all of them. Some guys don't.
Yeah, but defense, it takes one guy to not understand it, and it falls apart for the entire defense, right?
Yeah, and look, they'll have
Like a guy runs the wrong route. Ideally, you just don't throw to that guy, and maybe half of your concept still stands. But on defense, if one guy blows the coverage,
right, and
it's
they'll
open.
literally play God Scales on Sunday, same time as last week, 6 p.m. at Lachine 3. And so we'll know. We'll have a better gauge of, okay, well, did they improve off? They won by 3. Are they going to improve on that 3-point win by maybe winning by 10 or by 14 points?
Yeah.
Because you figure Lazaro now is going to be back in rhythm, and this could be his coming out party where if they're at 2-3 with 5 to go, they'll have the All-Stars, they'll have the Braves, they'll have Flagmore Sack, and then right there is the Mortal Kombat of names that they'll have to go through to get to the top of the pinnacle here. So we'll know by then if they're going to be legit or not.
no,
So.
for sure, it's gonna be interesting to see. All Stars and Gryffindor have a game less played as do God Skills.
Mo, what Mortal Kombat character do you used to play? Or do you play?
I liked Scorpion a lot.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Sub-Zero was cool.
I've when it was like
the arcade one?
Well, the arcade one was anything, but when you had to use the not the joystick, but
yeah.
the D-pad,
Yeah.
I couldn't do the half moons or the quarter moons. So anyone who had those moves, I wouldn't choose. So I was good with Scorpion. I was down with Raiden. Those were my main two.
Johnny Cage was cool.
Johnny Cage is cool too.
Johnny Cage was cool.
You just like punching people in the nuts.
Yeah. Finish him. Anyway, on to Div 2. And Party Crashers All Hooks. They're off to a flyer now, Peas, with where they are in the standings. Party Crashers are 4-1 in second place. All Hooks are 3-1-1. We don't really. I know we speak all hooks here and there, but who do you have more confidence now going towards the final 5 games? Party Crashers, All Hooks to maintain their high clip.
Party Crashers have had some inconsistency on the roster, so that's worrisome. All Hooks feel like a team kind of like playing with house money
Yeah.
that they're not supposed to be winning, right? Like they're new to the division. They were tier 1 in the fall, but fall is different, and also they were new to tier 1. And they tied KGB, who are the reigning Division 2 champions. They beat the Apocalypse. They when they played head to head, Party Crashers All Hooks. Party Crashers won 41-26, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that All Hooks have this sort of unpredictable characteristic because they don't know that they're not supposed to be good, right? So that's always a fun vibe. And I think if they catch Party Crashers on a day where Party Crashers don't have don't have the best of their pieces, because again we've seen already that they've had players miss games, that might come to haunt them, especially in this division where seeding will matter, seeding will play a role.
Massive.
I think I don't know if I have more faith in All Hooks, but I think there's something special about what they're doing at the moment.
I'm intrigued by Party Crashers because I've score kept, I think, 4 of their games so far. And Fred Dupuis, he's really taken this team to the next level of excellence on offense. Their defense is very good. You look at some of the players that they have on the roster that have played well for them, and I'll give you some names in particular that really stand out for me. Emile Taillefer, who was a former U Sports football player.
They have a lot of U Sports and
exactly, and Phil Ferrand, who plays also on a different team. Those are the 2 guys, the central figures to their casting call that do well.
Just, a guy like Guillaume Paquette only playing a single game. it'd be nice to see him play more games.
You know, like Frank Hogue, I know we like to make fun of him, but he's a safety blanket for.
I don't like to make fun of Frank Hogue.
Maybe I do.
There's other people I like to make fun of. He's not one of them.
I think Simon
I think well, that's it. We only like to make fun of him because if we do make fun of him, it's because he plays with Simon Dashne.
Yeah.
But I think he's a very versatile player.
He comes up with big plays.
Well, because he's a guy who's a bit smaller, right? So you don't even notice him, but he breaks in the ball well. He's an intelligent player. He can play rusher in a pinch. He can play receiver at all the different positions. I think I've seen him snap also, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Like he's he's not going to be your star, but he's one of those guys who fills a gap on your team, and he's not a hindrance to your team. He doesn't cost your team.
Right. And not only that, though, Peace, I mean, like, we'll get a better sample size of Party Crash their next 3 games: Terror Squad, Urgence Medic, and #NR. Yeah. And those are beyond KGP, those are the other 3 big hitters of this division that can do well.
Is there some specific that team which is like should have been in Div 1, but if they were going to get destroyed, so they have to like cannibalize Div 2 in terms of the lower
it's sort of that
teams?
tweener, right? That they're not big enough to play Div 1, but they're whatever, not small enough, whatever it is, right? That whole notion that they're just a tweener size team there. But I think this is good for them because look, I want to see a change up of teams, and if this is a situation where Party Crashers could be that difference maker, like KGP finally made the show. But we just need that change of taste of what we want. If this is it, I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I was talking to the guys from UM after the game, just as and I think AJ Gomes was there.
Yeah.
I forget who else. There was 3 people. I'm blanking on the third person, so I'm sorry, dude. I just forgot. But I asked Jesse. I said, "So, UM playing Div A in the spring?" And they're like, "Yep." And it was like no hesitation. Like they know that like this is probably their last chance in Div 2. They want that chance at championship. But to your point, it would be cool to see something like Party Crashers where they're not a team I think either of us sort of signified as like a potential top team in the division. And, they're showing us that we should have taken notice in preseason, basically.
Well, they're going to the playoffs. I think that's a foregone conclusion at 4-1. I think one more win will be more than enough.
It'd be cool to see, or even, again, like, All Hugs is 3-1, right? Like, like one of these 2 teams, to your initial point, putting on a show for us, being new teams-ish in the division. I know Friends of Peace playing division, but like this is his first time with like this full core, right?
Yeah.
Or first time in a while, anyway. So there's some good storylines there. You know what I mean? Whereas like we expect it to be dominant. KGP 3-time champion. I guess the story there is can they win 4 straight championships, which would be ridiculous.
Look, I again, before going to the next topic here, I think Party Crashers can finish no lower than 6. I think that's going to be their floor. Yeah. In the playoff rankings, and of course, being first will be the ceiling. But we'll see what happens.
And I'm personally surprised by Terror Squad. I just thought that they were competitive for a long time in the past, but a lot of teams got better, and I just didn't see really like. We have Alex Pilon playing a couple of games and Patron playing a couple of games, but they're 3-1 with a fairly interesting like rotating cast of characters.
Yeah, it's not the same All Hugs team that
not All Hugs.
I'm sorry, I mean Terror Squad. We're not saying Terror Squad.
It looked like it was when they registered the team, but now like I don't know now how this plays out in the postseason. Like, what's the final roster look like?
You can pull a Gino DeFazio with the roster, right?
That being said, can we also give a quick shout out to Tambilia death coming off the arm injury?
I think we did that last week, but yeah.
No, I don't think we did actually.
Either way, I'm certain I've done it at some point this season.
24 touchdowns, 3 interceptions,
Yeah.
quarterback rating of 131, and completion percentage of 75.6.
Do we have a Comeback Player of the Year award in this?
We
league?
should, because he deserves it.
Yeah, Small P deserves it for sure.
We'll call it the Pease Del Reese Trophy. We should call all of our trophies the Pease Del Reese Trophy.
The Paulo Del Rocca.
We'd call it the Mokan Trophy, but he never came back.
The Del Rocca Trophy.
Don't call it a comeback trophy.
No. When you look at the quarterbacks in this division here in particular, Jeff Rosenblatt of Apocalypse and Greg Stern of Incredibles Peas, they both had some torrid start. Not torrid, but very stinkers, volcanic starts here. They play each other week 7, but the point is in this question is that who do you have more confidence in to get their team into the playoffs? Right now, Incredibles are holding the last spot, 1 game above Swoosh, Outlaws, and the Apocalypse.
I don't understand how Apocalypse are 0-5.
Yeah, I've score kept a few of the games. They don't look good, and I feel like Jeff is in again weight class of Division II. Not
I disagree. I think I've seen Jeff play at this level before, and like he's a really good quarterback who generally avoids mistakes, but that hasn't really been the situation this season, right? Like they're not scoring. He's taking sacks, which he also doesn't normally do. He's turning the ball over. Maybe it's going to take him a season to get his bearings. But to me, Jeff Rosenblatt, I thought middle of the pack, Division II quarterback.
yeah.
Again, and he's similar enough to Corey Perry in that like it because I often draw a parallel because they started in FPF together, right?
Mhm.
And Pecker's skill was not, or is not, he's still alive. Is not his natural given skill, right? It's just his understanding, his ability to adapt, and he's just a really good athlete and is able to make plays. Jeff Rosenblatt reminds me of that, just someone who's not like a prototype, but just always finds a way to get the job done, and it's not working out this season.
He looks like
So at this point, just because of the way he's played, it's different from how my answer would have been early in the season. I think Incredibles are better set to hold on to the last playoff spot. But honestly,
I don't trust Greg Stern though.
But that's the thing is, he's playing better than Jeff Rosenblatt at least.
But I don't know if his
I
team has confidence in Greg Stern. I don't see it.
I think the team. I think objectively, the Incredibles seem to be missing a piece. Whereas I thought that the Apocalypse were a more well-built team.
It's sort of, you know what it is? And I know you're a big Dolphins fan. It's sort of like Greg Stern's Tua Tagovailoa, and he's got the pieces now. You know, kind of make it happen. And look, when I score kept their game 2 weeks ago when they had a 3-score lead in the second.
He's under 60% completion, so Tua is not an accurate comparison.
Well, you know, I'm just saying from the perspective of the firepower. But, you know, they had played All Hooks 2 weeks ago, and they were up 3 scores in the second half, and they lost by 1. Even against Team Swoosh, even though they won by 19, it wasn't a convincing win. Like, it took them until midway through the second half to really put the game away against a Swoosh team that's still trying to figure themselves out. They're in a different level of play. They should be in the lower division. But I just don't know if Greg Stern, it's sort of like he's gun-shy when he lets go of the football. Like, he doesn't have confidence in his arm to get that ball into the target that should be going to, then waiting for it to get sacked or throwing the ball away.
I thought there would be some time for Greg Stern to sort of get back into FPF shape. Because last time I was wrong. I actually forgot he had played Division II, but when I looked up, his last appearance in Div 2 was quite good. So like I think at some point that'll come back, sort of the muscle memory will come back. I actually just think the team is missing one speed threat. They have Chris Miart, who's been there every game. They you know, the rest of them are good body receivers, but they don't have another legitimate speed threat on the team.
That's a fair point you bring up. And look, James O'Hain has become their stretch guy.
But that's like look.
But
it's Div 2. Nobody's slow except Terry Tan.
No, but like Pappage can stretch it though.
Yeah, but I'm saying like he's not a burner. He's a guy. They're ball winners. They're all guys who win balls. You know, Bertoldi uses his body and Vince Ardone uses their bodies to create space, and they're good route runners. And you have James O'Hain and Nicky Pappich, who are ball winners. They'll go get the ball in the air. But Chris Miart is the only guy on the team who legitimately burns guys, right? Where you're throwing to a guy who can legitimately just get wide open. Because again, it's Div 2. Nobody's slow.
No.
You know, none of these guys are slow. I'm just saying that there's not anybody on this team who's at next level of speed,
but
other than Chris Miart.
I think also for Greg, he can make passes, but he can't make throws. Like, he can't make that deep 20-yard, like, in the seamless, even needle of the eye, going right to the
It's
receiver.
like being in love, but loving someone but not being in love.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I like you, but I don't love you. You know?
It hurts my feelings.
I know. I guess.
Well, I mean, I was going to say at least I love you, Mo, but I'm not in love with you. But now I don't even know about that.
Of course.
I'm in like with you, I guess.
Of course. We'll see. We'll see if the Incredibles will love Craig Stern at the end of the season. Eagle, what is the next division?
We're going to go into co-ed, Mo.
Co-ed. Okay, Eagle. All right. Eagle keeping us in line here with co-ed as we break down the co-ed division here.
I love how the script doesn't have any information on co-ed.
What are you talking about?
I just hit F5 and there's nothing in here, so.
You must have the wrong script then, Eagle. We updated us.
I imagine we're going to talk about the game of the week.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you know what it was, Mo?
I am. Right now, as my computer loads up, I actually will have it up soon enough here. As the internet is a little
You
bit
didn't
slow.
watch the promo teaser on our YouTube channel / our Instagram page / our Facebook page / Chris Vive's Instagram page / Chris Vive's Facebook page?
I was busy with basketball this week, calling games here. So
It's 30 seconds long.
I know, but I didn't see it pop on my newsfeed.
So what was the game of the week?
It
In
was two
Mo's,
teams
in Mo's defense, you know how many
from FPF.
you know how many things and you know how many times things he can do in 30 seconds?
You know, it was on a field, long and wide, roof on top.
I can probably go find the video and play it before you'll figure out what game it was.
I did see a highlight video, but I just don't know which one it was. I don't remember. It's been so long now. Anyway, by the way,
I think it's been less than 48 hours.
it might have been less than 48 hours, man. I'm so locked into play-by-play right now.
It was Party Mix and Power Rangers.
Yes, I did see that video. Yes, I apologize. That was at Brossard?
Lachine.
Fair enough then. Okay, so we'll have the game of the week coming up here. So let's dive into now. Peas Party Mix in control at 4-0 of their division. Power Rangers hovering right behind them at 4-1. Are we starting to see now the shaping of the co-ed 1 come to life that we know who's going to be the top tier teams compared to the rest of the pack?
Yeah, I was led to believe going into the season that it was Power Rangers to lose.
It wasn't Brossard, or was it not?
It says Lachine on the site, and that
It
looks
was the
like
highlight in
Lachine.
Brossard, actually.
These aren't. No, this is clips from other games in the past. There's so much footage.
That's
of
what
them.
I saw.
Yeah.
Okay, carry on, Peace.
So, I thought, despite being told that, I thought that Party Mix had a chance. Power Rangers suffered an injury to a player who I'm not remembering at the moment. It was Mary Lou Bellin, right?
Yeah,
you were there.
I was there for that one.
That hurts. That I think that evens the playing field a little bit between Power Rangers and Party Mix. So Party Mix, of course, came into the season with an injury as well. So it kind of took Power Rangers from being that A+ team to an A+ team, and that puts them in the same range as Party Mix. And they came out with the win in this game. So obviously losing Bellin is huge, right? But they still scored 27 points. They were still within striking range. They still turned over François Delorier twice. Tam Villadeth, if he doesn't make those mistakes, if he doesn't throw the interceptions, I think they hang on to win it. But this is a great effort by Party Mix to overcome. So I'm happy about that. Jasmine Farmer, by the way, had a great game for Power Rangers, and Constance Miller as well. Those are the pieces as they've already been relied upon, but in the absence of Bellin, they'll have to rely on them as well. And Olivier Leberge is the guy I brought up last week in the longer podcast, the Podcast Plus.
Yes. Podcast after that.
He's a dude who I said, he's a really good player who's not as well known in sort of top division circles yet, but he's a really, really good athlete and a really good player. So happy to see him putting up numbers as well in co-ed.
So would we say that this is now Party Mix's division or championship to lose at this point in the year, or are you still?
I think Power Rangers still the top team by a hair, but it's closer than it was before Bellin's injury. And
So
if
the
Bellin
gap is
comes back, then I think they become sort of the odds-on favorite again.
Okay, so then in the pack of teams where there's Easy Fun, 2.5 Kittens, etc., Bishop Sycamore, who knows, but in the next two teams of Kittens and Easy Fun, do you think they have the horsepower to upend one of these teams if they do meet them in the playoffs, which is most likely than not now?
Easy Fun's really good. And Jeremy White's playing in Division 2 now, right? So the reads happen a lot quicker in Div 2 than it does in co-ed. So I think that's helping him out a lot. At the same time, he's played at this level before in co-ed. I'm saying so. He's played in co-ed before. He sort of understands the way to succeed in co-ed. I thought Joey Taylor was tailor-made for co-ed because
the play on words.
Sorry?
The play on words.
No, I didn't realize it. Pun not intended, but fully appreciated. It's just that because of the quick release, because of his ability to buy time,
he's been sacked 15 times.
But he got sacked 9 times in one game.
Yeah.
By what's her name? I'll bring it up in a sec while we're talking. That to me was sort of shocking to see. But it's kind of what Joey Taylor does a lot of times. He'll run up to the line of scrimmage, and if he doesn't have a read, he just takes. He'd rather take a 1-yard sack and have the ability to run on second or third down than not be able to run and gain a yard, basically. So I've seen him take sacks purposefully. I wasn't at this game, so I would imagine part of it was that, but also 9 sacks is nonsense.
Yeah, that's. I remember years ago, the Baltimore Ravens had a special. For every sack the Ravens had that day, you would get $2 off your pizza for Pizza Hut. And that day was 1997. They were playing the Philadelphia Eagles. They had 8 sacks, so $2 off. That's $16 off of your pizza in the Baltimore area.
Yeah, it was Jessica Mostappen who got the 9 sacks. We've talked about.
Is that a record in the game, Eags? 9
a
sacks?
game?
Yeah, I think it is. It has to be a record. As your same piece?
We've talked about Bishop Sycamore before, that it's a lot of youth sports talent, both men and women.
Right.
And Mostappen is a ridiculous athlete. I told Alexis Dubois about them, and then he saw them in person. He's like, I can't believe how big this team is. And both the men and women, very tall, very rangy. Mostappen is one of such of the athletes on this team. And she
might have looked up the Defensive Player of the Year award.
I said, I was saying if you look just at the counting stats, she might win it just because of this game. I know sometimes when people put it stats up in a single game, then it's sort of weighed by the committee a little bit, but I think if she just has one more big game, it's pretty much like her who's player of the game.
By the way, it was the record. Before that, 4 people had 8 sacks, so 9 takes the crown.
There you go.
Who were the other players that had 8?
Vladimir Pires, Jean-Philippe Lemelin, Nathan Plante, and Marc-Antoine Vallée.
Yeah, she has 15 sacks in 5 games.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
That's really good. At this point, I don't even know how she doesn't. And 3 PDs. At this point, I don't know how she doesn't win Defensive Player of the Year in Quad 1.
I was going to say, will Joey Taylor have more sacks than touchdown passes? He's at 19 compared to the 15 sacks he has.
I would imagine he finishes more touchdowns. I think once he learns to trust everyone on his team, he's going to be a very dangerous quarterback in co-ed. He just has everything that works in co-ed. He buys time. He's pretty good on his feet. He has a quick release. He has a playbook that gets the ball out of his hand. He allows players to create in space. He calls a lot of pick plays. Just everything that tends to work in co-ed.
Co-ed 2. We're seeing Kiss My End Zone, the leader of the pack right now, at 4-1. Are you surprised by that piece?
No. It's a team that was a playoff team in fall. I saw them as being the favorite in the division. Gino DeFazio can't throw for Yin and Yang this season because his rating is too high. So
how angry was he about that, by the way?
I'm sure I can't even imagine the complaints and the emails. I'm happy I don't get them.
Eagle, can you divulge that deep dive for us that please?
We do not comment on any emails we receive.
What do you? The US
except when I
government?
want to.
Well, what is this?
Except for the times that we do. I have to say though, Fit Squad has turned stuff around. After I saw them play, and they looked bad when they played against 300s. And then they're a completely different team against Team Commando. They're playing at the same time as I was, so I looked over and I caught a little bit of their game. Still a lot of deep shots by Felix Goulet. As you can see, he completed only 10 passes, but 5 of them were touchdowns. But it wasn't reckless. It was a lot of intermediate and players taking it upfield and players that were just wide open. Roxanne Granger, probably Granger. Please correct me if you hit me up on all socials. I'm happy to.
It's important that we have the proper pronunciation.
Yeah, we just don't know you guys as well. So for the times that I'm wrong, I'm happy to hear about it. Unless you're Joe Cano, in which case I'll still keep on.
Yeah,
Joe Cano.
They have Kiss Man Zone week 10 at the end of the year. They beat them by 3 in week 3 that it was. Perhaps it's for the one. Perhaps it could be for the one. By the way, that we're having a collision course with these two teams in week 10. But could you see or could you foreshadow that maybe Fit Squad is your number 1 seed in the playoffs?
So I think Kiss Man Zone are the best built team. Alexis Dubois, James Drysdale, Iggy Valdez Manzanero, very good receivers. But then you have Erica Dubois, who's super reliable. Abigail Cockerton, super reliable. Rafael Pelin is coming along really well, especially on defense. So, and they added, like, Alex Laroche is a guy who's an interesting addition. I'm writing my Division 6 mid-season breakdown.
Yes.
So I'm exhausted, by the way.
Your 5,000 word epic article.
Oh my god, it'll be far more than 5,000. 5,000 is my normal article, so it'll be far more than that. The thing is I talked about it because he's playing on Tropic Thunder, and
Yeah.
he's such a big addition because he's a great football mind. Like, he's not someone who's as athletically gifted as some other players you see, but I played
Right.
against McCoy last season, and the way he was able to have his team adapt on the fly, like not even waiting till halftime, drive to drive to drive, showed me. I was like, oh no, this guy's a really, really, really smart football player. And people take his, they see him, they don't think he's that athletic, but athleticism is more than just speed, right? And having awareness, having knowledge, and having the ability to put yourself in the right position at the right time is really important. And I was blown away by his play when I played against him, McCoy, and it surprises me not at all that him being on this team has improved their defense.
By the way, congratulations for Les Sect, their first win.
It's not their first win, their third win.
Anyway.
The third win. We keep saying it's their first win, but we were proven wrong by Alexis Dubois. But what is it? A Mandela effect. So
Yeah,
first win.
First win.
First win of the season, of the year.
But it's great. They're 4 points now, and that's big
And
for them.
listen,
And against a Y&Y team.
They've
as well.
lost less games than they haven't lost this season.
Yeah.
Which is the first time they've got to midseason, and that's the case.
100%.
So that's important, right? Like, there are a couple of extra points for being 3-2 after having a dreadful fall campaign.
But look, they've been here since fall of 2020. Yeah, that sounds correct. Yeah, fall of 2020. It's been so long, my God. Anyway,
The last year both flew by and also was 6 years long.
yeah, exactly. And anyway, so they got destroyed and had their souls taken from them in the Fall Cup of 2020. But they stuck with it now, and hopefully this is now their opportunity. That it's a fork in the road that they're now going the right direction for them to become.
Oh, we've always said the team is a decent team. It's just they didn't have a quarterback for a long time, right? Or if whoever was playing quarterback was not a receiver, so you can't throw the ball to yourself.
Yeah.
And it was just the moment you get that figured out, now you put up 6 scores in a game, 5 scores because I can't do math. Now you're at a point where, okay, I can play football. Like, we always talk about 4 scores being what you need to win a game, and now they're at that point. So
Actually, it's 5 scores if you pay attention to the show.
yeah, but I'm saying you need at least 4.
No, 5. Peace, verify, please. 5 scores.
Five
Thank
scores.
you. Thank you.
I said you need at least 4.
No,
it's 5. That's what we've been saying on the show forever.
But he's on his
Which
Pokemon.
show do you work on?
At least 4.
Sorry, he pressed
Wait,
the
is
button.
4 more
His
than
button.
5? I know you just
Yeah.
admitted to not being able to do math, so that's why.
Yeah, he's giving us a look now. He's giving us the annoyed look. Okay, idiots, you bleep heads. Anyway, but congrats to Lesec, though. It's been a long time coming, and they finally got it, though, so good for them on that front. Division 3, we dive into that now and what they have lined up here. And so Bless, big win for them over Sheesh on Monday. But look at it now, Pease. On that side of the conference, who can take them out? Is it Sheesh? Is it Touch It, Catch It? Or is there someone else in that division that can take them out?
It's only sheesh.
What about Touch It, Catch, though?
Yeah. Look, Touch and Catch is really good, actually. They're playing below their skill level.
Well, hold on. Let's start with a preface here. Touch It, Catch It has 4 games left, and they're 3-3.
Yeah.
They need to win all 4 of their games, and Blessed needs to lose the next
But
3 games
who-
to be caught.
But who?
You understand that?
Right, but who's going to beat them though? Like Bless at the like in the playoff time because
Nobody. They're gonna win a championship.
you have them winning the championship right
I
now.
do. I think. So, I think they're going to the championship. I think Sheesh is their only competition, and even at that, I think Blessed is just a more complete team, and their offense is ridiculous. I think their only challenge is legitimately on the other side when it comes to Thor's Hammer or Junkyard Dogs. I think that's their only challenge.
Thor's is good. I watched some Junkyard Dogs is intriguing. They really intrigue me because they have not on the same skill set of what Bless has, but they have elements of it that they can
They have
compete.
They have size and speed the way Bless do, right?
Yeah.
They have strong quarterbacking the way Bless do.
And Martin
does.
Steinberg's out for the year, by the way.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Okay, that
Looks like,
changes.
yeah.
But it's cap room, right? So like, Martin Steinberg's a player who's replaceable. He's replaceable. He's gone for the whole year. You sure?
It appears so. I may say the quiet part loud.
So you started like with a very certain yes, and then it's like,
It appears.
you know
he
what?
is.
Maybe.
Maybe not. I went from yes to maybe not. No. From what was mentioned on Monday, that he's definitely out. He's definitely out for the foreseeable future. Maybe back for the playoffs at best, but probably doubtful.
That's a huge blow. But that said, like it's an 80-80 rating, so it's like not that a player is replaceable. It's not what I mean, but like when you have, let's say for example, it would have been someone like Terry Babelis, who's got a lower rating, or Jafar Hassan, who's essentially free on this roster, right?
Yeah.
That's harder to replace than a guy who's got an 88 rating, right? There's a lot of players rated about that where you can pick from. It's not Marvin Steinberg because I think he's uniquely talented and he fits this roster uniquely well. But like they still have James Langshaw, Kevin
Phil
Smuda, Phil Farah, Will Power. It's really good, man. Like it's a really good team.
And Andrew Langberg and I we were chit chatting going back to the parking lot after the game. He says, "Man, it's just like like he said it. He wasn't shy at all. They are a matchup problem.
Yeah,
they go.
That's why I think Junkyard Dogs, from a matchup perspective, like I don't know.
Paul Lapierre can be a big difference if they do have a collision course.
Absolutely, and the same thing with the two Submergents, right? Their ability to play in the air.
Yeah.
Nullifies kind of what Will Power does a little bit in terms of Will Power as a ball winner, right?
Yeah.
So, and even Steinberg, if he does come back, that's kind of the thing that those guys add to that offense. And they have speed as well. Felix Ferrou, for example, is a very good defender, but I see he hasn't played a game actually. So,
but also Submergents have a chip on the shoulder because of what happened in the spring season when they lost to this Blessed team, right? In that infamous.
I still give Blessed a slight edge, but it's a coin flip, right? It's 51-50, 51-49 kind of thing. And then when you look at Thor's Hammer, that's a team that I think has the top end talent, and like we said about Jeff Rosenblatt, with the way he's struggling in Div 2, he's not in Div 3. Like he's a Div 2 quarterback simply by the fact that he's too good for Division 3. 31 touchdowns and 1 interception halfway through the season.
He's having an awesome year.
He's been sacked 0 times. Remember I said he doesn't get sacked normally?
Yeah.
He's been sacked 0 times. He's been sacked 8 times.
And he's got Anthony Breezewell on that roster. He's a big fan of Breezewell and Dawson Pierre.
Crackwood's amazing, dude.
Yeah, Dawson Pierre's
Dawson Pierre, Jonathan Laristis, Anthony Breezewell, James Drysdale. There's speed everywhere. It's tailor-made to what Rosenblatt wants to do, is just attack in different levels and let guys do their damage. And like Dawson Pierre is indefensible in the red zone.
So do we have in Conference B, do we have our 6 playoff teams set? Because it feels like it is set with what we have currently in the standings, because Killer Bees have a 2-game lead, albeit with Speed Academy having 2 games in hand against them. But more or less here, every team from 6 on up has 3 wins or more.
The internet is stalling. Can we get it? There we go.
Yeah.
Conference B?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Conference B, so there's the Conference A has lightweight and Oompa Loompas who have not been competitive, right?
No.
So the Conference B doesn't have that, but what they do have is sort of like a stronger top 6, like you said.
It's an enriched top end than it is for Conference A.
I mean, so like Killer Bees are that one team that can fall out because I don't think they're much better than Mangoose or Speed Academy. I say Mangoose just because I think they're scoring enough and they're talented enough to start winning, where Past Our Prime just hasn't clicked the way I thought they would at all.
You know what I would love? I know we can't do it now because it's too late, right? I know the way that it's structured, top 2 seeds get a bye, which is fine. But in the following round, you have a crossover of playoff games. They do it for international tournaments. So, for example, let's say Bless would play, I'm just saying, spitballing here, Expendables in the first round of their playoff run.
Okay.
And so on and
like
so forth.
Reseeding.
Yeah, exactly. And
Like instead of seating on each side of the bracket.
yeah,
like,
exactly.
so if you get a lot, but then if you get like upsets, if you get a lot of upsets on one side, it sucks for those teams who got the upsets.
no, for sure.
Because then
But-
they gotta do it all
because
over
the
again.
reason why I bring it up, I know, and we always have this discussion about playoff rankings, and not to get too deep into this, but if we believe that Sheesh is the only team that can beat Blessed, it'd be a damn shame
Well,
that
who
it
do-
happens.
Do you think anyone can beat Blessed?
Yeah, I think Sheesh can.
But other than so yes, we agree on Sheesh. But
Yeah.
do you have another suggestion?
Junkyard
In Conference
Dogs.
A? No, in Conference A though.
In Conference A,
The question
touch-
you asked me, basically.
Yeah, no.
just because I
Touch a-
forgot to ask you for your
yeah,
opinion.
touch a catch it.
Yeah.
From
From a talent perspective, it's just not working. But from a
but no,
from
it's improving though for them.
it has.
You know, AJ's back in the fold, and they just look much more comfortable. And Fred Millet, you know, as much as we like to poke at him for being who he is, he's played well. And look, this
It
team
just-
goes for two. They
yeah.
go for 2 points every single time.
But
I
it
don't care
just-
what it is.
It's just if you have to put your faith in somebody. I know it's not. It's not just quarterbacks, but if you have to put your faith in a quarterback for a game, is it Fred Millet or Stephen Harpersad?
Of course, it's Stephen Harpersad.
But is it Fred Millet or Andrew Langberg?
But if you get the good Fred Millet,
Right.
he's unstoppable.
But there's always a good Stephen Harpersad. There's always a good Andrew
Yeah,
Langberg,
for
right?
sure.
They never have a bad version of themselves, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Look, I love those quarterbacks who play that way. I'm one of those guys, so I appreciate what happens in all divisions.
Oh man. So anyway, but we'll see how it plays out here. Look, ECW faces Junkyard Dogs this week. What are the keys and who needs this win? Because right now, if you look at the standings of this division as we speak, ECW's is 4-1 in the second hole. Junkyard Dogs are 4-1 in the 3 hole in the playoff standings here. So in the long view, who needs this win?
Easy W for me. I think Junkyard Dogs kind of are just going through the motions of the regular season. They know they're the best team or second best team in Conference B. Easy W, they've been on fire when it comes to their offense. I think that they're a team that's they kind of just ride hot. So they're going to need to have sort of that, how can I put it? Their picture was taken outdoors, by the way. Since we started the season in January,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's possible. I'm pretty sure that's the wrong picture. But
There's one picture, I forget what team it is, that it's so stretched out you have to click on it to get it to its normal size.
nice.
Yeah.
It's been a long pandemic for all of us, folks. But yeah, so ECW, they're kind of like a. I'm struggling to find a word. Let's say emotional team, just because I can't find the right word for it. But like, you know what I mean? Like they kind of ride their hot streaks, and then when they start losing,
The highest of highs, the lowest of
Yeah.
lows.
So if they can just keep a streak going the whole season, which I think they can because
Yeah.
of the showtime nature of their offense, I think it's worthwhile. I think they're the team to look out for if they can do that. So if they get past Junkyard Dogs, it shows them to themselves, hey, we can ride this hand all season long. You know?
Yeah, and it puts them in play for the number 1 seed. And that
Agreed.
would, in theory, if they get the number 1 seed, they could avoid Junkyard Dogs in the second round of the playoffs if they were to meet as a 2-3. So I think Junkyard Dogs is okay. And I think you're right that ECW definitely needs this win more than they do. So if they're going to do it, I think this is going to be one of those games that's going to be over the betting line of whatever, plus 54. I think it'd be like 54.5. I think it'd be over that for sure on that. All right,
wait, for a team to score?
No, total points in the game.
Oh, it's gonna be more than that. It may be double that.
60 maybe. 65.
I mean, like, I think ECW puts up 35-40 by themselves, and I don't
Yeah.
think. I think it's going to be like an 80-point game,
Yeah.
personally. You know,
I hope so. All right, since Iggy took my idea, because I gave him the idea last Monday or last Wednesday in the parking lot, the best DB in Div 3 in our now new hot topic segment, start him, bench him, or cut him. So there's 3 names for your P's. I'll give you 3 names for best DB in Div 3. Phil Ferrand.
But wait, if they're the best DBs, then why would you cut one
you
of
have to
them?
cut one.
You have to cut them one.
You know what's interesting? I heard there's an ex-NBA player talking about the commodification of players and how segments like this make them feel like meat. But let's do it.
That's what it is, man. Meat market. Okay, Phil Ferrand, Vincent Morissette, Ariel Librati, the 3 best DBs, so-called, in this division. Start him, bench him, cut him. Who are you starting?
I had a recent run-in with Vincent Morissette where the ball left my hand and I literally said touchdown in my head. And he undercut the receiver and the ball was thrown high and still got to the high point to pick it off. Like, there was not a way he could get to that ball and got there. So I was really impressed by that. But I might cut him because of that reason.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm mad at him.
Vincent Morissette.
Phil Farin, to me...
Oh, well, so who would you bench then?
Phil Farin is the top of this class for me. He just does everything. He's a really complete defender. I like him a lot. So I'm going to go... I'm going to start him.
And you're going to bench Ariel.
I think I bench Ariel, and I cut Vincent Morissette because he picked me off and made me really mad because I was sure that was a touchdown.
Oh, boy.
No, he's really good. He's
Yeah.
he's a really, really talented player that looks somewhat unassuming. He's very aggressive in the routes that he takes to balls on defense. He's looking for picks. He's looking for turnovers. It's like an upper division mentality.
Yeah.
He's not just looking to make a safe tackle. He's looking to make a play every play. I like him a lot. I'm a huge fan, so I cut him.
I'm going to start Phil Farin. I'm going to bench.
That's cool,
Yeah. I think that's the same thing. Ariel will be on my bench.
Can't say that. Has what's that show? Stephen A. Smith. Has First
First
Take
Take.
taught you nothing? You're supposed to say the opposite thing,
I
even if
know.
you don't believe it.
I know, but I have to agree.
You're
with
supposed
you.
to contrive it, Mo.
I know. I wish we had Mad Dog and Stephen A. here doing this show today. It'd be funny. Ariel,
You mean to tell me?
yeah, they had a whole argument about the best NBA teams in the last 50 years, and
So for Mad Dog, did they all exist 50 years ago?
oh, Mad Dog just went off on Stephen A. Oh my God, it was funny.
So basically, you'd be Mad Dog, right?
it-
Because
well,
all the
is
best FPF teams existed 15 years ago.
No,
Is he
definitely
is he still ignoring that Bob Cousy's career shooting percentage is 30%?
He was just going off saying some stupidness, saying would Steph Curry be taking over this guy, that guy, that guy, that guy? I was like,
He would.
Anyway, I got Farin as my starter. Lirati is my bench guy, and Morissette is my cut guy.
Cutting Morissette.
Yeah, he likes me too.
Did he pick you off? No, he's a super nice guy
Nice
too.
guy.
I literally,
Yeah,
as
so
I'm saying
bad.
it, I'm for those listening to the show, I have this huge smile on my face because it's a
Yeah.
little tongue in cheek, because he's a legitimately good dude too.
He is a nice guy. Very nice guy. All right, Eags, what division are we covering now?
Doing
Why-
Division 4.
Why do you hate Ariel Liberati? Why don't you say he's a nice guy?
He's a nice guy. What division are we doing now, Eagle?
We're doing Division 4.
No, we're not.
No, we're
Yes,
not.
we are.
No,
No, we're
we
not.
need to do something else.
Yes, we are, because we still have 4, 5, and 6, and there's only 2 ones to split.
That's okay. We're gonna split them now.
So you're doing 2 of them back to back anyway. So now you're doing 3 and 4 back to back. Is my point.
We're gonna do
Division
35
4.
plus. 35 plus.
Fine, 35 plus. I don't give a fuck. It's fine.
Bleep. I don't give a bleep. Okay, 35 plus.
So we lose all of our sponsors, Mo?
We did. We just lost everyone right now. That is one sponsor.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Catholic Church is no longer sponsoring this podcast.
No, they've left us. We're gonna burn in hell. Okay,
It's okay.
35 plus. Spitfire are washing down the competition at 5-0. 2-game lead over Monster for first place. Again, this is a division that unfortunately I thought Shenanigans would be much more of a force, but they're not. They're 1-4.
And they just edged out Old Age Atlas this week.
Yeah,
By a single point.
and I just think for Spitfire now, for where they're positioned at 5-0, the complete control of the division now piece moving forward, and the way things are shaping up, they probably are on their way to being a champion of this division.
They didn't have to add Don Shepard, right?
No, but the rich get richer, right?
Yeah.
You have yourself quality depth to work with.
I know, but there was depth already. They were already far and away the best team in the division. I thought Monster could have kept it closer, especially Montreal Spitfire did the thing you need them to do, which is turn the ball over, right? So you need
Right.
Carmen Polici to throw a couple of picks for you to have a chance. Tied at halftime, and then it fell apart. I really thought that Monster could be the team to compete with them, but it's very clear at this point. It's just too much. And we talk about Don Shepard, 12 targets, 3 of them turned into touchdowns, 8 of them catches. He was unstoppable in Div 1. That was not that long ago. I can imagine he's fairly unstoppable in 35 plus.
Yeah, well, I mean,
The best snapper in FPF history, if not second or third best, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah.
Splitting hairs, elite of the elite in FPF history. So.
I just don't see them losing another game the rest of the way. I don't see it. I don't know who's going to beat them.
It needs to be a game
You can
like
also
this.
have just a bad night, bad game. Someone gets called
but
into
the problem
work.
is, Eagle, this was a bad night, and the demolished Monster.
Then
right?
again, last week, 26-25, Shenanigans almost beat them. The week before that, Odate's Outlaws are off by 1 score. So 3 weeks in a row, it's been close-ish games.
It's just that their depth of talent is so good that they just control games. Like even games that are close don't feel close. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
like they'll have a 2-position lead, allow you to score, and then milk the clock, and like it'll look like a 1-score game, but in reality it was a 2-score game that was never in doubt.
By the way, when
basically,
did Nick Dana join Duck Dynasty?
Oh, he still has his pandemic beard, I believe.
What the hell is that? My
Yeah.
God. Anyway, that's your boy.
Yeah, he is.
He's sort of like your on Instagram today. They had a funny Simpsons clip where Bart was missing Principal Skinner, who went off to the army because he got him expelled from school. And Lisa goes, "Yeah, it's that rivalry, right? Like Mellow Yellow, Mountain Dew. Sherlock Holmes had his rival, and your rival is Skinner. Your rival
Do you
is
not know Professor Moriarty?
Yeah, whatever it is. I lost online, but your rival is Nick Dana.
I don't know if I consider him a rival.
I think he is
A rival needs to be at least on par with me at one thing on earth.
He can bake.
That's true. I suck. Well, no, but I suck at baking, so I'm not even his rival at baking.
Yeah. Well, maybe
I-
Eagles' rival. in
I
baking.
I
ignored.
don't bake.
You. You bake
I
though.
cook.
It's.
I'm not a
can't-
scientist.
I don't-
I'm a chef.
Yeah, I'm an artist.
A
Not a
scientific
scientist.
chef.
I'm not an artist. Sorry, I'm not a scientist. I'm an artist, so therefore I don't bake.
Right. Anyway, tier 2 pacemakers 5-0. They
So pacemakers were supposed to be like I think I may have mentioned this, but pacemakers was you weren't here the most, so like
No,
just
I
so that
wasn't.
you know, pacemakers were supposed to be in the interior 1, but got bumped down because there wasn't enough teams. So we kind of knew it was going to be tough for teams to keep pace, but they had a close game this week.
Well, they did. They beat Brody Windsor by 10 points.
Yeah. Closer than anticipated in any case.
Yeah,
right?
but Jason Rossi is he's having a strong year. 67% passing completion. That's an incredible number.
So what I suggested, because Yavari Ashfari, as Rafi plays with me in Division 4,
Mm-hmm.
and what he told me about what's happening with the team, and like a lot of the other teams are starting to get a little chippy with them because they're not happy that there's like this div dodging team, but they didn't div dodge. They
Yeah.
tried to register for the higher tier. But what I suggested to him was maybe have Jordan, Jordan Rossi would probably still be the best quarterback in the division.
Right.
Have him throw, and then in the playoffs start Jason, so that way the games would be closer. But it looks like they're going to just keep Jason. And look, to Brody Windsor's defense, they did pick off Jason Rossi twice.
Right.
So they're not infallible. Jason did score that additional touchdown on the ground. Their execution just was a little bit better, especially when it came to converts. So that's kind of what you expect. Like I said, I think the best way to go forward and trying to keep it not as antagonistic is to put Jordan Rossi at
Right.
quarterback just for the regular season. Playoffs are go out and win. Who cares? You know.
Bleep everyone.
But just because it's not a big like you already have the regular season locked up.
Yeah.
What are you trying to prove?
Right. All right, on to Division 4A and 4B.
I'd be good to give him quarterback of the year in 35 plus if he doesn't play the rest of the season, just because it's the right thing to do.
All right, 4A, 4B. Are you more disappointed in Santar or Takeover, who are both 2 and 3?
Takeover, and like I thought that those losses would have come just at the beginning when Will Power was quarterback, because he's never thrown into 4 before. But they actually got off to a strong start with Will at quarterback, and he kind of held it down as well as he could. So, little surprised given how strong the team is, because I've been on record saying I think this is the deepest Div 4 roster
Right.
by a wide stretch, and you know what? To your point, Mo, they haven't played well. You know what I mean? They're allowing a ton of points. That's surprising to me. When you look at Santar, they're a team that previously did really well in this division, and Jordan Rossi is playing really well. He's not turning the ball over. They're scoring a decent amount, but they're kind of just. They lost to Bruins. I found surprising. They lost a close game to KGP Rod. They lost a close game to Brotherhood. Yeah, I thought this was going to be a 3-straight winning, like a 3-game winning streak for them right now. But they turn out to only win one of those games.
Yeah, take over. I score kept the game with
Sorry, to lose all 3 of those games.
Yeah, I score kept their game 3 weeks ago when Will Power was at quarterback against Backyard Bullies. They were competitive, and I thought, okay, when Haber comes in, they should take the next step.
Yeah, because now you have Will Power and Vincent Benjamin.
But when's the last time he played in the league, right? It's been so long.
Winter 2019.
Right. And
we didn't have a winter 2020, right?
We didn't finish off 2020 and 21.
So he was playing in 2020, though.
Right.
Because he plays every winter season.
Yeah, exactly. And so my point is with him is that it's a long time off, right? And it takes time to get back into rhythm, just like what Dan Lazaro in Div 1, regardless of what division you're in. And look, they got 5 more games left on their schedule. They got Stoics.
They're the kind of team that just needs to make the playoffs, right?
Yeah, but
like they're the kind of team where we're not worried about their talent level, where they're not matchup dependent when it comes to playoff time.
But remember, they've had some good teams and they choked in the playoffs. They've had some.
Choking only exists in golf and free throws.
Well,
a team can't choke. It's not.
They choked.
It's not possible.
It is possible.
That's like saying if you go to a dinner, 7 people choke at the same time.
Yeah, but that's a life and death situation.
No, it's the same thing. You're literally comparing it to that.
I'm saying they choked.
Whereas
in
a
the
single person could choke.
How about a glitch? They glitched in the playoffs.
Sure.
They glitched.
Sure.
They had a glitch. So
choking only exists in free throws in golf.
Exactly. But maybe that's it. Maybe if the expectations are lowered, it's that whole notion that maybe they don't have that pressure to live up to.
I just think that they're a team that took time to develop through Division 5. They bounces didn't go their way, didn't win a championship, and now they're competing in the division they should be competing in. And they're sort of they're starting that cycle in Div 4, right? Mm-hmm. There's a learning curve when you move up in a division. So I'm not entirely surprised in that way, but it's just that I thought that they surrounded Ian Heber with enough talent to sort of nullify that.
I'm surprised. By the way,
Ian Heber, by the way, is one of those guys who we won't get the name right. Ever.
Right. Centaurs play Takeover week 8 in Heber. So
that'll be a good game.
That'll be a good game. It might be for a playoff seeding.
And what's interesting about that one is they do things completely oppositely. So it's both teams could play their strengths and attack the other team's weaknesses. It's the best kind of matchup.
Yeah, and Jordan Ross is not having a bad year. 19 TDs, 3 INTs. And, Roy Submergent's playing monster-like as he always does. Hugo Alamano is still a force on both sides of the football. They got guys, and if Ryan Shalal, who had a phenomenal start to his spring season last year, is able to be much more of an influence. He's played 3 games so far. If he comes back, plays the 5 left, then, yeah, I think they can win 5, if not 6 games, and finish off with a stronger record.
Definitely.
So, again, we'll see how that plays out.
To see if on Iggy's midseason report, what he thinks he'll do the rest of the season.
Would be 4 hours long, Iggy's report?
Probably. Mine will be a 4-hour read, I promise.
Is it going to be,
my typical article is 9 pages long. So I think my midseasons usually run about 20 to 22 pages.
What's that? I forget that word. When you don't read the book, but you hear the book. Audiobook, sorry. But there's a word for it, no?
Listening.
No. But anyway, we'll get one
when you listen to stuff.
Iggy will do like a 4-hour recap of his article.
Yeah, it's like as if he was on a medium where it was auditory before.
Exactly. Hurleys and Sons, and where they're looking at right now.
See, they're a team where I figured they would struggle because of how long
they've been out. Yeah. But when you look at them now, and they're starting to get their rhythm in play, they are 2 wins, and they are on the outside looking in. Is there a team that you're circling that, hey, that team's going to drop out and they're going to get into that playoff window?
Eagle, what's the False King rating on Hurley and Sons?
Ooh, I don't have it in front of me. Let me get that for you.
Yeah, dig it up. While we're talking, I'll just drop it in.
Yeah.
You're saying which team can fall?
Yeah, which team are you circling that you're going to say, you know what, they could be the team that will fall out and Hurley's and Sons will jump back into the picture?
I think Bruins have their deficiencies on defense, as do and backyard bullies are playing below their level. So backyard bullies is one of those. It might just be a lost season for them. Just things don't click in time, kind of thing.
Right.
And Bruins, I think, just the way they're built, they can lose, but they're scoring enough to keep them on pace, basically. Whereas, man, Hurley and Sons, they're not putting up any points, man. Like, I know they won this week, and we want to talk well of them when they're winning, right? Like, we don't want to shit on them when they lose, but the bulk of their season's points were almost scored this past week.
Which team do you want to get?
Hurley and Sons.
They have one of the hardest schedules, literally the second hardest schedule in Div 4.
And they'll play
Like
backyard
upcoming
bullies.
or
Upcoming, I can't tell you, actually. I don't know.
Okay, so you don't know. So
and they'll play backyard bullies coming
But up to date, they've had the second hardest schedule. Yeah.
I was gonna say because they played they played Brotherhood, who've been really good. They played Top Season. They've played Spears Cougars, who have sort of found their stride in the division.
Easiest schedule, by the way, for Sparrows Cougars. Hate to say it, but it's true.
Yeah. Well, they deserve it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think the game against Bruins is going to be telling, and they kind of have Bruins and backyard bullies
next 2 weeks.
next 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
we'll have the answer to your question in 2 weeks. So tune in for the next 2 episodes of Calling the Audible.
They'll get to. I think they get to 5 wins. They'll beat Bruins. They'll beat.
So they're winning both those games.
They win the next 2 games.
I think you're wrong. I think they would struggle to win either of those games.
I think they win those 2 games.
I think you're still remembering who they were and not who they are.
No, but I scored out the game a couple weeks ago, and
when they lost the Blackouts.
no, big fun.
Okay, so yeah, fair.
And
But so this was the first time this season that they scored 5 times. Sorry, it's the first time they scored more than twice.
it could be a turning of the changing of the guard now for them.
But they played a team who just moved up from Div 5. And that's the only time that happened where they were able to score those points, right? So now they play Bruins, who have scored 150 points. And they play backyard bullies, who've not scored quite as many points, but are still fairly prolific on offense.
The Bruins game can be tricky because
So you're saying they're going to score 60 points in the next 2 games?
they don't need to score 60 points though.
They will to beat Bruins. To beat Bruins, they have to score 30 points.
I look.
And Bruins defense, again, Bruins defense is not that strong,
No.
so you have that ability. Backyard bullies, their defense is not playing well, but they're still scoring a decent amount. Like you're not beating Bruins out scoring 30 points.
Perhaps not.
So let's say you guys score 50 in the next 2 weeks. Do you think this could, after scoring
Yeah.
70
I
the
think-
first 5 weeks, do you
I
think they're scoring
they can.
50 in the next 2?
Their brand of
Right.
football is ugly, but it's pretty in the
But
end.
that won't
'cause
work against Bruins. That won't work against Bruins.
We'll find
Bruins
out.
are a fast-paced, high-flying team. They're efficient. They score.
We'll find out. We'll find out though.
We will find out that I'm right.
Voodoo.
And the worst part is, when we get to games of the week,
We're gonna forget.
you're picking Bruins.
Bruins.
100%.
Bruins. I'm picking the
I'm
Bruins.
calling it. Eagle, mark it. I'm calling it right now. He's picking Bruins when we get to games of the week.
Bruins.
I'm sure
Bruins.
of it.
Well, if not,
I should know better. It's the Mokan setup. I know.
we'll dub it in
I
there.
get so mad at you sometimes.
Who you got? Bruins.
100%.
What?
You're not even a wait.
Never.
You're not even letting me make my pick.
Exactly.
Oh.
Bruins. All right. Put Bruins for me, please, on the picks. Voodoo, slipping of late here. Do we tap the brakes on them because we spoke highly of them 2 weeks ago, but now they're starting to have a bit of a lull and they've lost 2 in a row.
So I didn't think they were going to be a 10-0 team. I was surprised by how good they were.
So is this like you're going really fast and you see like cars up ahead that are slow, so you just kind of ease into the brakes, or is it more like you see some lights flash and you kind of like
last second,
jolt?
like
Yeah.
you're texting, you weren't supposed to slam the brakes.
Yeah.
Which one are you doing on Voodoo? You slamming the brakes or you tapping the brakes?
I think they're in the left lane.
Not even a tap, like a slow skid to slow.
Oh,
Yeah.
just like,
Like-
slow your car up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I get you.
I think they're in the left lane. They realize like, holy bleep, we need to get back to the right lane as soon as possible.
You missed your exit.
Yeah, and we're in the left lane and we're getting honked at by everyone on the left lane.
So the loss to Finesse is by a point, right? Like that game can go either way. Winning close games is not a skill. They have Aster Sphinx next week, who are cheaters. So who knows what's going to happen with that game.
Nice words.
They lost to Vultures, who are insanely talented.
They're very good.
So that kind of tells us, I think, what they are. They're going to beat the teams they're better at. Then they're going to lose to the teams that are more athletic. They're a matchup-dependent team moving forward. I thought they kind of crossed that threshold, but it's clear to me that the teams they'll beat the teams that are struggling. They'll have close games against teams that are similarly built to them, where a bounce can win it. And then they're just not going to be able to keep pace against the top teams in the division. They have Sphinx and Honey Martin next. I think those are bad matchups for them. Honey Martin, this just proves they're false kings, though. If Voodoo are not as strong as we thought they were. And Sphinx, again, they're cheaters.
Man, you and the Sphinx, they're going at it back and forth, man.
I mean, listen, I'm not the one who cheated, so I got the Lord on my side. What can I say? I couldn't think of another way to phrase that, so it just became Christian. So I'm trying to get that ad back from the Catholic Church.
So are Mofos false kings at 3-1-1? Because they have not really beaten any big name teams.
They're interesting to me. We played them week 1. They're really good athletes.
And by the way, if you go to the team shot, if you go to
Yeah,
Mofos, but hold on, go back to the team
Go back
page.
to just the regular page.
That's what we have. That's what it's referring to.
See again.
I
We
love how
talked about
much
this last
field
week.
is in there, though.
Yeah.
Rub really hates this stuff when you take pictures like this. Did you take this picture?
No, it was me.
Are you sure?
No, I took your picture.
This looks like Heber.
No, there was definitely not there for that one.
Those look like a bear.
Yeah, but I don't work Heber on Sundays.
That's fair.
Fair.
Week 3, Heber Sunday.
Yeah.
You're right. There you go.
You said Mofos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mofos.
Let me check their false kings rating here.
Please, if you don't mind. Because I had them as a false king's crown.
No, they're
about
middle of the pack
Just eyeballing it to the middle of the
schedule-wise.
pack.
Not that bad.
They crushed Sphinx.
But so like their quarterback, Timoko Sanogo, the dude will run around in the backfield forever, and then can throw 40 yards on a line. The guy just like the plays make no sense. They don't entirely know what they're doing, and he throws too hard in the red zone when he has receivers wide open. But the dude has a rocket. So I'm intrigued by them because I think sort of like conceptual, like in terms of team concepts, like what they do on defense, when they do on offense, it's bombs and man, basically. They throw bombs, they play man. And they mess up sort of the handoffs on defense a little bit, but they kind of make up for it with their athleticism. They kind of make up for it with buying time on offense and just being able to make plays, right? So, like when you look at the teams, it's like they tied to Finesses who are somewhat struggling. The Sphinx win I find surprising.
Right.
Levias Foil are a solid team, top to bottom. To having Vincent Morissette, who we talked about in our upper division podcast, and Guillaume Bellin, who now plays for Braves.
Yeah.
That's a good team. So
former McGill player.
Yeah, he's very, 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 very good. Next superstar in FPF market. Mofos beat Team Ethnic, who've been struggling, and Hot Sauce Sports, who've been struggling.
You got Montagnard coming up in 2 weeks.
That'll be a good measuring stick because Montagnard are a systemic team, right? They play their system. They don't make mistakes. They execute. Which is the opposite of Mofos. Mofos it's balls to the wall, athleticism.
Of course. So anyway, I'm intrigued by them. I have them as my false kings for now. They're false kings Mofos.
They're not false kings though. So far, they've had a decent strength of schedule.
They are in my books right now. Anyway, on to the next division. Eagle, what's the next one, please?
Well, it depends. Do you want to do 5 or 6, or do you want to break it up with the women's?
Break it up with the women's division.
All right, let's go women's.
Women's division, my friend. By the way, thank you to Mike Pierce, who has told myself to tell you guys, I told you guys already, that he and Joe Mayer are more than happy to help us out in the coverage of the women's division.
He sent me a picture. This is a verbal meme for everyone at home.
Yeah.
It's a picture of a train and something being hit by the train.
Right.
And it was like FPF Media was the train, and the thing being hit like the thing being thrown under the train was Mike Pierce. Because we kind of called him out for something, and he's like, no, it's because our women's division largely has the same rules as the international division, but it's not exactly international rules. It's kind of like a hybrid.
Yeah. But anyway, we're seeing now a real separation in Tier 1.
As we thought we would.
Yeah, Bleu Bleu really, really taken away right now. Les Bleus up there as well. Do we see anyone catch them for the 1 or 2 spots in this division here, Pease, at this moment?
The Brutes are the only ones at this point, based on their talent level and based on how they've actually played.
And they have games in hand.
And yeah, with the games at hand, for sure that helps. Bleu Poudre, by the way, is the UCAM team.
They'll play Les Bleus this week, actually.
And Les Bleus is UDM.
Yeah.
So they're collegiate level teams. And Brutes, if I hope I got it right this time. They are the Montreal Blitz team, basically.
Right.
So we kind of knew that they would make up sort of the top end. I thought Concordia would be the
They've
top
fallen.
of the top, but
They're off the rails.
I thought they would be that top tier as well.
Yeah.
By the way, Concordia is not exact. We keep saying that they won the international tournament, but it's not exactly true. That tournament, they took the best players from the women's division and they went down and competed. So it wasn't all the Concordia team.
No, of course not.
I wanted to rectify it because I made that mistake, and we are trying our best to learn the women's division.
But
We had a guest last week with Lamiz Aljundi. We're going to have some guests in the next 2 weeks. My work week this week was psychotic, so I just didn't have a chance to reach out to anyone. But I've had a couple of wonderful women already reach out wanting to be on the show. If you do want to be on the show, rather than mansplaining with Mo and Peas, we want to have you guys here to talk about your own division because, again, we owe you the Greta attitude for building the women's division. So we want to hear from you out there, and we want your names to become sort of household names in FPF.
For sure. And here's the thing, right? Bleu Poudre plays Les Bleus this week, right?
Great game.
And if the stands hold serve, there could be a Concordia number 6 seed taking on one of these two teams.
Yeah. And that's not what Concordia wanted at all into any of the playoffs.
That is an ultimate hijack of the playoff road for one of these teams here, that they have to play a team in theory in Concordia that we all thought would be a finalist, if not a championship contender for this season.
But this defense, especially for Bleu Poudre, Tamara Journeau, Jasmine Farmer, who we talked about in co-ed, they're really good defenders. If you just look at how many times they get their hands on the ball, right? Kathy Bernard has not even had a pick yet, but she's knocked down 5 passes.
Right.
So, I talked about the names I mentioned first were their interception getters, the ones with multiple interceptions. Yet, Kathy Bernard could have easily been somebody who led the team in interceptions as well. 5 PDs shows she's breaking on the ball. She's getting there. She's getting involved in the action. So I like how active they are on defense, how well they communicate. And Laurie Turcotte, 3 sacks, but also applying a lot of pressure, as well as Sarah Burbich and Catherine Gaumont when they need to in a pitch. So they have talent the whole way across the board. There's not a weak spot in the defense.
Yeah.
I know I'm a guy who generally focuses on offense. I'm trying to steer my coverage away from just quarterbacks because it's the position I know best. But generally, I do want to sort of shout out this defense because it's not just the interceptions. It's not just the sacks. It's the application of pressure. When I saw them play, I was really impressed by the rushing, forcing bad throws, and how quickly their DBs break on the balls and knock down passes, especially in the flats. That's so important to playing high-level flag football where you're just not giving up free yardage.
I'm intrigued by Griffins because they have Concordia coming up. They're 2-2. And Les Bleus at the end of the year. If they go in 3 of the final 4, they would be 5-3 for the season.
Yeah, Griffins beat VC Cubs, who are younger. They're the underclassmen in the Vanier Cubs. And their other win was against Flamands. They're only beating the weaker teams. They're middle of the pack team. You see that in their plus minus. They haven't scored a ton of points because when they're playing the best teams, they can't score, and they're allowing 5 scores every time they play one of the top teams, right? So they're padding their score when they play the weaker teams, and then they can't operate when they play against the top teams.
When they play the bigger bullies, they
I think honestly, I'd love to see just a couple more teams join the women's division to have 3 tiers, because I think we can have some really awesome competition. But look, honestly, Griffins are it's a great learning experience, and I think that it's going to help them develop down the line. And again, they have the benefit of not being sort of the bottom teams. One of the bottom teams. They're one of these. I think they're a solid middle of the pack team, and I think they can actually push Concordia, right?
Right.
Despite what we've seen when they've played sort of the university teams, they haven't really been able to compete the same way. But the way Concordia's been playing, I'm if they can keep it close, they can come out with a win.
And again, if they do beat them, I think this opens up the box of confidence for them that they can maybe.
Chloe Picard's protected the ball.
15 touchdowns, 3 INTs
yeah,
so far.
It's not as much scoring as you'd like. At the same time,
but that's their game, though. That's their DNA.
Yeah,
they're not going to go out.
Just protect the ball, be safe.
Points.
She's completing almost 60% of her passes. That's the mark, right? Like that's what you want in a quarterback in FPF. 107 quarterback rating. It means to me she's being safe, which is nice. It just they need to create turnovers on defense, and they've only done that against the weaker competition. So I'm kind of curious to see this week how they'll do against Parker and Concordia.
Tier 2, what's your analysis on Tier 2 right now? Volts at 3-2, so still up in the air for the number 1 spot in that side of the Tier 2 window here of who can be in first place. But
Tier 2 is nice and it's grouped well together. Strangers are struggling. They're just allowing so many points. But, Volts are not completely unbeatable either. So it's been interesting in that way. The thing with Strangers is they just allowed 50 points this week against Les Bleus and 54 points against the Brutes. So while they've allowed a ton of points, it's padded in the crossover games.
Right.
So, they're just really ill-equipped to handle the crossovers. That's kind of what we've seen. So I have a feeling that when it comes to a game like this week against Red Nation, I can see them getting right back into the mix because of that. Because, if we look at sort of Morgan Cosimano Valois, there's 14 interceptions, but 10 of them have come against those 2 Tier 1 teams.
Right.
So she's not as bad as the raw data looks. Right, so she's been very competitive when they've played against those other teams. And last time she played Red Nation, she put up 5 touchdowns.
Right.
So there is that opportunity, I think, and that vaults them back into there. And VC Cubs, it's the same kind of thing. It's they're the least equipped to handle. Those 2 teams are the least equipped to handle the crossover games.
Tier 3 would be ideal for them.
Yeah, but even at that, they'll compete within this tier. They'll be fine. They'll absolutely be fine. It's just that. Their numbers they look worse than they are because they have to play those games. I wouldn't be surprised to see some upsets in Tier 2 as we move on through the season.
All right, on to Div 5A and B as we make our way through. Eagles, are we plowing through this really smoothly here? What's going on?
There's a clock right here, and
I
you have
know.
3 extra minutes. So
yeah, we're at an hour and 20 right now.
Yeah.
So
Hour 23, perhaps.
Yeah, we got. It's like the injury time in soccer, right? We have.
So what you're saying is you're not even
too soon, Mo. Too soon.
You're not.
Someone's not gonna be honking their horn tonight.
You're saying you're not even working as hard as me and Iggy did work last week.
No, I'm just showing you guys that it can be done in efficient time here.
Efficient or lazy?
Hold on, Eagle. Who was more sloppier on the mic in terms of their?
Honestly, neither. To be real, we didn't actually have all that much considering what we normally have.
Yeah.
Right. All right,
Although Pease almost died. Did he tell you that?
Oh no.
Oh my God, Iggy.
You go to the washroom?
So I'm allergic to hazelnuts. Did we talk about it on there last week?
Oh
I
no.
think we might have actually. Yeah.
I'm allergic to hazelnuts, and Iggy poured me a drink that had hazelnut liquor.
Oh no.
And I was about to drink it, and Eagle was like, "Oh, you brought this? I love hazelnut liquor." I was like, "Nope." It would have been.
That would have been the highest.
There was this moment. I'm like, "Oh, Frangelica, Pease, you can't have this."
It would have. It went from. It would have gone from the longest podcast we ever did to the shortest.
Oh man! Imagine we had that happen and the volume was off.
Yeah.
To hear Peasy dying is on there.
Oh no! I would have had to go to the hospital.
Oh man, that would have been epic. Live at the calling the Audible in the ER room of the.
How weird is it, by the way, to only be allergic to a single nut?
That's
I'm
okay.
No, dude, I'm Italian. It's not okay. You know how hard it is to be Italian allergic to hazelnuts? Sure. I literally can't eat any desserts ever in my life because they're trying to kill me.
Make sure you tell Simone about that, huh?
Oh no.
Can you please put some hazelnut?
What I
desserts
will
for
tell
us, please?
Simo is, I hope you enjoy the honeymoon suite. I have it booked for the night before you. Wink. Wink.
It's like he's making
You're
love
gonna
to you.
regret inviting me to the wedding.
It's like him making love to you in that bed.
Don't worry, I'll add the cleaning fees to the envelope, but it'll be too late.
All right, Div 5A and B. We look at Div 5A first, and Goofy Goobers and Step Bros. Do they have it in them to keep on moving up in the standings, or will Pincellos and Longhorns catch up to them?
Pincello's in a rough spot.
They're in a tough. They've had it rough, man.
Just to confirm, we're doing 5A, right?
That's
Yep.
right, 5A.
I opened the wrong tab. Pincello's, look, the thing is with Pincello's, there's no shame. Like, you guys struggled in Div 6, and then you moved up. And after fall, I think they got the idea of like, oh, yeah, we're going to have to go through that grind every time we move up in division. That's what everybody does. That's what Eagle, you've seen that with Lockdown, right? I'm seeing that with Hot Sauce Sports. Like it happens. It's okay. It's not the end of the world.
Gonzaga's down, by the way.
Sorry?
Gonzaga lost.
Oh, they did. Arkansas is well
That's
coached.
good
by
for my
Musselman.
bracket, though, to be fair. So
Eric Musselman. Hey, that was up for Duke now to get through.
I have Duke in my final
Oh
four. So.
my, yeah, Gonzaga.
Yeah. So basically, I think Pincellos are just in a rough spot. They also they needed kind of a speed threat, and Jonathan Harrod was that, but he got hurt on in the first game. The team is solid. The team is good all around. It's going to take a second. Longhorns with Nick DeMalo, by the way, looking completely different. He injected something in them with like, he can buy time. He's got a good arm, and it's just a better team with him at quarterback. Pincellos have an easier game this week with with the Step Bros. So we'll see how that goes. But I think they're winning at most one more game. But it's fine. Again, it's a learning experience. You guys are going to come back better for this. It's all good.
You hope so.
There's this weird thing they do. So in a Longhorns game, Vince Romano came out for a little bit. Justin Calix came in to throw. We're not sure if Vince was actually hurt or not, but he did that against us where he pulled himself from a drive for Justin Calix to come in a quarterback. It's like, just stick with one quarterback. Get as many reps as you can. It's a hard position. You're not going to learn anything sitting on the bench. Get on the field, make your mistakes. It's
like
okay.
Jimmy G, Trey Lance over there.
Don't do it.
No.
It's fine. Stick with
But
your guys.
Do you think Goobers can
Yes.
stay off the pack and be
Goobers
okay?
are good.
What about Longhorns? Can they get into the playoff or picture now?
Now, yes. With no disrespect to Dave Allen, because there's few FPF players I respect more. I know that my comments about Longhorns 2 weeks ago, it's hard to believe,
Yeah.
but I respect him a lot. I just think that he was a little out of his depth with this team. He either needs to surround himself with ridiculous talent or not be throwing. And the last 2 weeks, Nick DeMalo showed that his added dimension of the athleticism really helps the team. I was talking to Jim Calathris about this week, and he kind of said similarly. He obviously was going to throw Dave Allen under the bus, but both of us have immense respect for him, as I said. But it just adds another dimension to the team, and he's been great, man. Like, he's completing almost 80% of his passes. He's scrambling. He's buying time. He throws the ball really hard, and he has they don't have speed. They do have really good reliability and guys who are at the right depths, the right spots, who know how to find holes in coverage. So for that aspect, I think Longhorns has covered. It just really comes down to Nick giving them that extra dimension. It is worrisome. Then the last 2 wins, though, they did give up 71 points.
I look at it from this perspective in that
Like, the defense still is not fixed, is my point.
no, and they're gonna be leaking. They're never gonna have. It's never gonna be a situation where that sink tap is going to be corrected. It's going to be leaking, and it's going to be progressive with them. But I think now for the Longhorns, for where they're positioned at in the overall standings and what they are, at 2 and 3, they're tied with Step Bros, who have the 6th spot right now. It's going to be between them or Step Bros getting that last spot. And I just think for the remainder of the schedule, it could come down to the last game.
Which
against Step Bros against Longhorns for that 6th spot.
Well, if I think if Longhorns keep playing this way, I don't think Step Bros can keep pace. Because I think Longhorns can go on a run, whereas Step Bros, like they got the Reed, they got Metaverse, and Longhorns with the way they're playing, I don't see them being able to compete.
I think Metaverse is going to be the trickier one for the Longhorns.
Metaverse are good.
Yeah.
Metaverse are a strong team,
Yeah.
so it's definitely possible. But I think like Step Bros, I saw them play in
Right.
person. They're a little disorganized. They make a lot of mistakes. The games are too short to make the kind of mistakes. They have a bit of a bloated roster, so I think that they don't always have their best players on the field,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of hurts them as well.
Right.
I feel like they're the kind of team that everyone pitched in, but they secretly hope a couple of those guys call in sick for a game or
Right.
can't make it. Maybe accidentally put in the wrong time in the group chat. Like that's I think what the team build is like. I like Metaverse's sort of focused play. They haven't a ton of points. They kind of slow the game down a little bit. It's the guys who were the process who have a championship pedigree already.
Mm-hmm.
We know how talented they are. I'm curious, but I just see like a huge line of delineation between sort of the top teams and the bottom teams in Conference B.
So Jamal Roach had a great start to the year. He's had a rough couple weeks here. They're 4-1.
I mean, they're still 4-1.
They're still 4-1. But if Roach continues to throw the INTs that he has, I think he's thrown 3 in the last 2 games or 4 in the last 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Could they still hold on to the top 2 seed?
Yeah. Yes, but it's not like come playoff time that won't work. Like it's fine now, and it when he's throwing in interceptions, it makes them more matchup dependent than they actually are. Their next games are against the Mighty Six, Vultures 2.0. I don't really see who's gonna put up a ton of points on them, right?
No, but if he's careless with the ball, it could result in
It could, but so like you turn the ball over and they still only allow 12 points.
right.
And even against Metaverse, Metaverse again, they kind of play a little slow, but so like, turn the ball over but only allow 26 points. That's still a winnable game if he puts points on the board, right?
Right.
So this week we saw that. We saw this so last week it was like, oh man, can Roach compete when he's turning the ball over? The answer this week was yes.
Right. False Kings checker, please. Dun, 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 dun. We should have like a song, like a better for this, like a royalty song.
I might actually have one. Hold on.
All right.
Will they be the false kings?
Arkansas winning against Gonzaga.
Are
I have a
they like
harp.
Gonzaga?
I thought I had a trumpet.
Play the harp.
I have an air horn.
Yeah.
Air horn would be all right. Here we
I think I like the harp better.
Something such Beagle. There we go.
go. Okay, so the False
False
Kings
Kings.
checker for the REIT.
The
they're
REITs
4-0.
are, I mean, it's not the hardest of schedules. It's middle of the pack, though.
Okay, so are they the False Kings of this division?
No.
No, the Vultures are the false kings of this division.
Ooh, hot take.
Oh, my.
Stats don't lie. Their opponents are 17, 26, and
Tell
2.
that to all the lying stats. Stats don't lie, interpretations lie, though. No, they face sort of a middle of the pack schedule, but they're blowing teams out. Like Banditos are not a bad team, and they ripped them. I know it was a bad game by Banditos,
Right.
but they took full advantage of that. They have the fake Eagle,
Oxnacla.
who's excellent defensively. Dawson
Unlike
Pierre.
the real Alex Aquila.
Dawson Pierre in Division 5 is cheating.
Yeah, it's,
Not the same way like Sphinx, but still.
It's yeah.
Michael Gattuso is a guy I've played against in lower divisions. He's solid too. They're good. The Sperania brothers. It's athleticism on athleticism on athleticism plus football knowledge plus now they know a bit about FPF. So and they're still in Div 5. I think if they were in Div 4, it might have been a bridge too far for them.
Right.
But in Div 5, they can still use their athleticism to make up for the things they haven't learned yet, but they're learning and learning quickly.
All right, in 5B, we look at the side of the Conference B in 5B. Hold on, I got the wrong page up here. Here we go. Sorry, my bad. Okay, 5B in Conference B. You look at it right now. It is crazy how there are 8 teams with 3 wins or more, and there's only 6 spots to be had. Is 5 wins enough to get into the playoffs?
Wait,
Yeah, parity. The system works.
It finally works after trial and error.
in
it finally
5B
works.
they have 3 teams with 5 wins or more. Or with 5 wins.
In Conference B.
Conference B, there's 1 team with 5 wins.
No, I'm
No,
talking
no,
about
with
there's
3
Oh, 3
wins
wins,
or
okay.
more.
3 wins
Sorry,
or more. Yeah.
I misheard you. Yes, so 5 teams with 3 wins or more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you look at Conference
There's
B,
8 teams with 3 wins or more.
Conference B is pretty wild, right?
Yeah.
It's B North. It's I feel bad for 2 Pfizers and FOTs half Johnson because it took them 6 games to get that 3 wins. But 3-3 is not bad. But they're the last place team in the division.
3-3 normally gets you the 6th seed. You're on the outside looking in at 3-3.
So at this point, are we sure the champion's coming from Conference B?
I'm not saying it is.
Oh, give me a False Kings rating on lockdown.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. We-
Potentially false kings.
Yeah,
I think that's
we-
False
we-
Kings.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that.
I
soon.
think that's False Kings.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely.
But we'll talk about them in a second. Save it for when we're talking about Save a Horse. Because I got to make fun
Yeah,
of them.
next thing was for
It's,
you.
soft.
But anyway, for this, before we get to that, let's just wrap it up over here. There's 8 teams with 3+ wins. Is 5 wins going to be enough to get in the playoffs, though?
No,
That's crazy. 6 wins is going to be the bare minimum.
I think so. because 2 teams on outside looking in already are at 3, right?
It's crazy, man. It's absolutely nuts. And then on the flip side, Bynes might get it with a 2-8 record. All right, let's get to now Eagles time. This is your time to shine here, Eagle. You were chomping at the bit in the production meeting.
What did you tell me about Complain-O Horse?
About how
I like them a lot, by the
when
way.
I considered them to be a Div 3 team last fall and
Do
everything.
you like soft serve ice cream or
I
because they're
them.
soft?
I like them. They're nice guys.
Soft a horse?
Soft
Complain-O
horse
Horse?
I like, yeah.
Okay, so go ahead, Eagle. This is your time to shine. Here we go.
Nothing to specifically say, except if you're going to play a physical game and you get penalties called against you, maybe it's kind of your fault.
But Eagle, is it because you work on the podcast that you get all the calls?
No, it's because you wrap a guy up with 2 arms and throw him to the ground. It's
Oh, so
because-
that's not
did
allowed
they
in the
clip your
field.
wings?
No, it's not.
Did they
It's
clip your
not.
wings, Eagle? Is that what it is?
Look,
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Don't complain about calls, man. Just play better. First
but
of all.
elaborate, though, because I wasn't there, and it was on Wednesday, right, at Hebert?
Yeah, it was last night and everything. And apparently the only reason we beat them on the last play plus the extra point, thank you very much, Reese Morgan Riley, is because all the referee calls went our way.
Now, did
And
they
I
tell
only
you this?
counted 7 calls that went our
So,
way.
but the two-
4 touchdowns and 3 extra
the
points.
2 interceptions that Kyle Daniel threw, was the referee taking the ball and putting it in your player's chest?
No, sir.
Oh, okay.
So they told you this after the game
Technically, they didn't tell us this. We heard it from their sidelines.
from the fan base.
Yep.
So the thing is, first of all, I can attest to this.
So the fans went at you guys.
I can attest this. We don't get extra calls from referees. If anything,
it's worse.
it's worse.
yeah.
The other thing is, especially that Eagle and I have been on rules committee in the past, and usually it's players versus refs in rules committee,
And we're trying to fix calls that were called poorly, and how do we fix the mechanics to make this better so this doesn't
I
happen
can
more?
promise you they don't like that. So the other thing is, look, Eagle, you proclaim them Div 3 caliber. I said they're Div 3 athleticism, but when I watched them play, from a play calling standpoint, I thought that they were going to be exactly this: a talented Division 5 team who needs to learn a little bit about the league, learn a little bit about proper play calling, because I would imagine it came down to Buccaneer the last drive, just kind of knowing what they're doing on defense and picking it apart.
Plus, wrapping up a guy, throwing him to the ground, and taking a 10-yard UR penalty is not the smartest way
Which
to end
is-
their
Who
drive.
did they throw down? You?
What?
Did they throw down you, Eagle?
You crazy?
He's not playing
I'm
on
not going
offense.
on offense.
You did play offense last week or 2 weeks ago when I score kept your game.
Because someone needed a break, so I went on.
Yeah, and you were 0 for 1 in the targets department.
The thing is,
that was Max's fault. He threw it way over my head.
Oh, okay. Blame everyone else. There you go.
Anyone
Blame
else.
everyone else, including Save a Horse, right?
no, but so look, Save a Horse came back in the second half, right? So kudos to them for that. But the thing is, that's part of knowing FPF, right? Like knowing that you can't take that penalty late in the game. Knowing, what did they gain by taking that penalty? Would it have been a touchdown?
Nope.
So what's the point of taking that penalty?
And also,
'Cause
Tyler Stewart got lost for being on defense for the rest of the plays.
Yeah, I shouldn't say this, but I'll say it, is that if it's going to save the game and save a touchdown,
You do it.
take a penalty.
You
Sure,
do it.
don't hurt somebody. Don't go out of your way to hurt somebody. But play physical if it's gonna save a touchdown, because you might get away with the call. But if it's going to cost you the game, if it's going to cost you and potentially cost you the game like it did, that's on you, man. That's simply on you.
Because they could have gone. They're 3-2 right now. They could easily be 4-1 in a tie with you guys.
Yep.
And that's not the case. And they are now probably in a fight to hold on to 3, and might end up being a 4 seed. And we could see a rematch with you two teams going at it again.
And like 10 yards basically put you guys like either red zone or right outside the red zone, right? Just from reading.
It's a quarter of the field. It's a quarter of the field. That's
It's a
what
big
it is.
penalty.
It's a huge penalty. A quarter, yeah, that's massive.
It's 25 yards on an
Plus the
NFL field.
reception on the play too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that play was worth 25 yards.
Literally Massive.
25 yards.
Yeah. I
Anyway.
was trying to remember from when I had the play-by-play tab open. I've already moved on.
All right, it is now time for Div 6. Is that our final division of the night?
It is actually.
Look at that, eh? We were making...
For you, I don't get to leave Div 6 alone. I'm going to go home and keep writing.
Why are you gonna keep writing?
Because I'm writing my mid-season report. So
They don't
please-
know what that means.
I know. Every year, when we get to divisions, if we get to week 5, or sometimes week 6, depending on how it goes with the buys and such, this season we're going up to week 5, where we break down each of the teams. Rather than having a typical article, the format's different. I review each of the teams and I rank them 1 through last place. So what I do is I rank them based on how they're currently performing, not who I think will be the best at the end of the season,
Yeah.
not who I think should be the best team, not who I think has the best roster, based on who's currently performing the best to the worst. Then I note the key players on the team. I predict the record for the rest of the season, and then I give them a rating. But let me explain my rating system, because
for
every
it.
year we get some people complaining and crying about how I rated their team, because it doesn't mean anything. First of all, it doesn't affect your playoff ranking with how I rate your team, but I always get complaints. The way I rate it is this: if your team is performing exactly as I expected it, as I expected you to,
Right.
you get a C rating. So a team I expected to be 5-0, who goes 5-0 and has looked kind of just good and not spectacular, they get a C.
So, without revealing who, can you give us a percentage on who has a C rating in your article?
I'll give you one. I'll tease one. Beer Knights get a C rating, maybe C plus, maybe C minus. They're 4-1 because I kind of expected them to be 4-1. I kind of expected them to be maybe 5-0, right? So
Yeah.
I thought they were the best team in the division. They're amongst the best. They haven't really looked out of this world. They've just looked really good, which is fine. They get a C, or C minus, or C plus. C minus and plus here. So the minus and plus is if I don't like you, it's a
Right.
minus.
Right.
And if it's a plus, it means I kind of like you guys. It's not actually that. It's kind of just whatever, quote unquote, sort of gut feel, right?
Right.
B is if you're slightly better than I expected.
You reset the clock by putting your hand on it. Thanks.
I don't know where we are. Anyway, it's last
we're
division.
actually at 99, 59,
No, we're
99.
There we
We're
go.
at 143.
I'm looking at the clock right now.
We've been on for 99 hours.
Look at that.
99 hours.
Look at it right now. You can see the clock right there.
So if you get a B rating, it's B grade. It's that you've slightly succeeded expectations.
Yeah.
An A rating is you've well exceeded expectations. D is slightly worse than expected, and F means I thought you were going to be good, but you're not good.
Okay, so here's my question to you then. Glory Boys are first.
I haven't done Glory Boys yet. Maybe,
I know, but I'm asking for the article. This is off the article.
Okay.
So Glory Boys 4-1.
That's actually incorrect. They are going to forfeit their previous game against Flag Football Team because Julian Salvatore was suspended for OCs and played in that game. So
and
he's
with
forfeiting. his
Eagle, was he made aware? Was the team made aware?
game. The team was made aware by the disciplinary committee.
Look at that. Pay attention to your
Okay,
emails,
so
folks.
we'll
That's actually going to be a forfeit, a 30-0 administrative forfeit. And he's still suspended for the next game.
Well, he didn't serve a suspension.
exactly.
okay, so we'll throw that at the window. So the Stormers are 5-0. 5-0.
They're really good.
More likely to go undefeated or win the championship.
So I don't think they'll go undefeated. They play the next 3 games are Tropic Thunder, Beer Knights, and Spanish Inquisition.
Mhm.
That's a tough run of games. And then Glory Boys, who themselves are not slouches. They're probably like a notch under those 3 teams, but they're really good. That said, I like Richard Nantal. has 25 touchdowns. Don't just look at passing touchdowns. He has 4 touchdowns on the ground.
Right.
So he's on pace for 50 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's quarterback of the year level rating. If you look at the team's receiving core, they have 3 receivers in double digits, in double-digit catches and targets. That's not entirely common in lower divisions, especially Div 6. And then they have sort of a smattering of guys who all sort of come in and will be effective in a pinch.
Right.
So they have a quarterback who can run, a quarterback who can throw. They are blowing out weak teams. They took a forfeit win this week, but they're playing free agent squad who they likely would have beat anyway. They're really good. So I think they're more likely to go 10-0 just because. No, sorry, they're more likely to win the championship because I don't think they'll go 10-0.
They're in the easier third of schedules thus far.
That changes though the next 4 weeks, and then they end off against Brewers.
So is there, with again, not to go into your article again, but is there a team that we should be having our radar on that you think can turn their season around?
You mean like a struggling team that could get better?
Yeah, or middle pack team.
Dusters 2.0. Dusters 2.0 could easily have been 3-1.
Also in the easier third of the schedule.
Yeah. Well, but we're gonna see that a little bit in Div 6 because there's a good chance you might end up just playing weak competition, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Right.
I think. Can you check V-Town? Because I think they had a hard schedule.
The V-Town is middle of the pack.
Oh. We're False Kings. Curious about their False King rating.
FKU, baby.
FKU?
There we
Officially
go.
a false king.
Officially False King.
False Kings.
Third easiest schedule of all teams in Div 6.
And they are false kings. Literally the false kings.
But Dusters 2.0, I think they're a little matchup dependent, but I really like their offense. They're scoring a ton of points. V-Town is pretty well balanced. I kind of like them a lot. And kind of a team that's a little under the radar just because, well, them and Betway Bandits, but I talked about Betway Bandits last week. Maccabees. Maccabees are really interesting. They beat 7th rounders and Toon Squad in back-to-back weeks. So 3-2, but they beat 2 of the top teams in the division. I have them like ranked higher than you would think as a 3-2 team, but you'll see where exactly in my article.
What's the opposite of false kings?
Real
kings,
real people,
kings?
real regular people.
I mean, I don't know if I have a sound effect for that.
Just people talking, just airport sounds.
Oh, I think I have that actually.
There we go.
Crowd noise.
Yeah, I'm looking
Regular
for crowd.
crowd.
noise,
Regular crowd.
Maccabees actually with literally the hardest schedule in Division 6 right now.
Check this out. I talked about Betway Bandits. They played them in week 2. Thunder Buddies, who features Terry Babelis and Will Power in Division 6. And Terry Babelis rushed that game. So Division 2 rusher.
Okay, sorry to cut you off. So Maccabees, I saw them play on Monday from afar. They're Field 1, I was in Field 3. They got one dude, a fan in street clothes, probably like one of their homies and stuff, who literally came on the field to like, yeah, and he got a penalty for it.
Well, you should get a penalty for that.
Yeah, he got called for it.
I will say though.
I mean, didn't we talk about it a couple of weeks ago? Don't get on the field.
Don't be a look at me, Larry. The thing is with Maccabees, similar to Betway Bandits, all of their games that they've won have been kind of close, except for Flamingos who are struggling. Winning close games is not skill.
No,
it's not. It's luck. Like you have to be good enough to get into that spot, so that's where the skill lies.
Yeah.
But it's not an inherent skill to win close games. It's just that you got the bounces to go your way. So that said, as good as they've been, if they lose those 2 games to Toon Squad and 7th rounders, maybe we're not talking about them in the same light. They do face off against Dusters 2.0 this week.
Yeah.
So that's a good game.
That's going to be fun. That's in Laval on Wednesday, March 30th. So, and then we turn it to, I know usually this is where we have playoff, but now it's going to really get, the margin errors will get even sharper than before.
Yeah.
And the business end will pick up for these teams here. But, PZ, your article will come out when?
Hopefully tomorrow night, if not Saturday. If not, I'll divide it in 2, and half will be out Saturday and half will be out Sunday.
Exactly.
I'm doing my best. It's a lot. guys, it's like a 22-page article. It's a lot.
I think
I
at
think
one point you had to upload it twice, right? Because it was literally
once
so
I
long.
had to divide my article in half because it literally broke the website.
It was too heavy for
It was
it.
one of those times where we didn't divide the divisions and there was like 50 teams
Oh boy.
or 60 teams, and it was just too many words for the website.
Oh boy. Breaking the website's membrane. All right, it is now time for
Games of the week.
Just for once, I want games of the strong.
Before we actually get into games of the week,
Yeah.
a quick thing from an administrative perspective.
Oh,
You
boy.
may have seen this on the site earlier, but the playoff breakdown and schedule is currently listed as an article. So, and I don't know if we actually talked about it on this show last week. I think we probably drank too much, so not really. But and captains have been notified. Essentially, this gives you a breakdown of all the playoff dates that you can anticipate for the rest of the winter 2022 playoffs. So if you have any constraints or conflicts, try and work around them. I mean, we'll try and help out teams as best as we can, but I mean, we're pretty much set in stone right now in terms of how many teams qualify, etc. And then the breakdown of when the divisional round, if there is one, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals themselves. For any of the dates and everything. So just keep that in mind in terms of the way it's all broken up right here. Mo, you were right. 35 plus and women's are on different dates.
Yeah, and just one more thing. Pay close attention to the schedule in April. There are outdoor games. Some people may not have realized that, but we will have.
And it, by the way, not our fault. They're literally taking down the domes.
Yeah.
So sorry.
We're trying to avoid it for playoffs.
Yeah, so please pay close attention, because if you show up to Hebert or Catalonia and you're like, what the hell is going on here? Well, the games are going on at Loyola. So
honestly, I can imagine players are frustrated by the different calendar. I can promise you from a logistics standpoint, none of us at FPF can wait to get back to a regular FPF calendar.
I think we're getting closer to that.
I hope so, man. The
We're
last 2
getting
years
close.
have been so difficult to manage.
Yeah, no, and look, we're like, again, we're grateful to be back, and we're hopefully gonna have, fingers crossed, knock on wood, pray to your Lord, whatever that might be, that we'll have a winter champion in about 2 months from now. Yeah, 8 weeks from now. All right, games of the week. Here we go.
All right, we're gonna go through this reasonably fast. I think we've done a good job the last few weeks, so let's try and keep it up.
Here we go.
All right, Division 1 and 2, Terror Squad, Urgence Music. Party Crashers, Terror Squad. In a double, technically not a double header. There's an hour in between, but still.
Just a header.
Crashers.
Give me Terror Squad.
Gryffindor, Got Skills.
Gryffindor.
Braves, #NR.
Braves.
Got Skills, All Stars.
All Stars.
Incredibles, B-Ballers.
B-Ballers.
Incredibles.
KGP, #NR.
KGP.
The Apocalypse, Outlaws.
Outlaws, yes.
Yeah. Neither of us are comfortable with that pick.
Yeah.
And All Hooks, Team Swoosh.
Oh,
All Hooks.
All right, Division 3, Sheesh, and Silent Ticklers.
Sheesh.
Oompa Loompas, Speed Academy.
Speed Academy. That's a must win for both teams, by the way.
Bearskins, Thor's Hammer.
Thor's.
Expendables, Pastar Prime.
Expendables. Both old.
Mangoose.
Both old?
Mangoose, Touch It, Catch It.
Touch it, catch it.
Touch it, catch it.
EZW, Junkyard Dogs.
Dogs.
ECW.
Lightweight, Les Malouds.
Malud.
Malud.
Blessed, Les Gros Coq.
Blessed.
Last.
Division 4A.
That's a MFL matchup right there.
4A, Les Bleus Branleurs, Big Fun.
Big fun.
LBB.
Top Season, The Brotherhood.
Brotherhood. They're good.
The Stoics, Takeover.
I think Takeover breaks the ship.
Yeah, take over. Bleed the Stoics. Screw me over.
Jeez.
Hurley and Sons, Bruins.
Hurley and Sons.
Oh! Bruins. Most wrong.
Sparrows,
At least
Cougars.
you're stuck with it, though.
Yeah.
Sparrows, Cougars, and Mongoose.
Sparrows.
Sparrows.
Backyard Bullies, Blackouts.
Bullies.
Blackouts.
Nomads,
By a lot.
KGP Raw.
KGP Raw.
KGP Raw.
Centaur, Small Giants.
Small Giants.
All right, 4B, the U, Vultures.
You.
Vultures.
Golden Eagles, Finessers.
Eagles.
Eagles. I don't like it, though.
Beer Belly Brigade, Bandits.
Bandits.
Beer Belly Brigade.
Ballers, Honey Martin.
Ballers.
Johnny Martin.
Voodoo Sphinx.
Voodoo.
I'm gonna go Voodoo.
Arouche Les Montagnards.
Le Montagnard.
Montagnard.
Hot Sauce Sports Los Locos.
Hot Sauce Sports.
Can't pick it. Hot Sauce Sports by 50.
Itza East Side Boys Mofos.
Mofos.
Muffles.
Team Ethnic Les Vaches Folles.
LDF.
All right, Division 5A, Ravens Los Bandidos.
Ravens.
Dilfs versus the Reet.
Reet.
The Mighty Six Buffalo Wild Wings.
6.
Mighty 6.
Ghost Vultures 2.0.
Vulture. Ghost.
Ghosts.
Step Bros Pincellos.
Big game. Big
Yeah.
game for
Give
both.
me
Step
Pincellos.
Bros.
Longhorns Backwoods Football Club.
Horns.
Longhorns.
Balls Deep Streets Ahead.
Balls deep.
Balls deep.
Kings of the North Metaverse.
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 Goofy Goobers Wubba Lubba Dub Dubs.
Wubba Lubba Dub Dubs.
Same.
5B Trailer Park Boys Air Force One.
Air Force One.
Air Force One because they need it.
Also because they're better.
Yeah.
Save a Horse Replacements.
Save a horse.
Save a horse, baby.
What Could Have Been's Warriors.
Warriors.
What could have been?
Le Speak Easy San Francisco 69ers.
Speak easy.
Speak easy. Niners need it though, but speak easy.
Two Pfizers and Fots Half Johnson versus Team Sexy. That's a matchup and a half.
I like Team Sexy.
Team
I like
Sexy.
Team Sexy.
Bynes Cookers.
Binds.
Fines.
Not Mustangs, Red Dragons.
Red Dragons.
I will not pick Mustangs. Yes, Red Dragons.
Trap Stars, Threat Level Midnight.
Trap
Stars.
Stars.
And Save the Turtles, Lockdown.
Lockdown.
Save the Turtles. Upset win.
Demons, Division 6, Tout Garni.
Demons.
Demons.
Tropic Thunder, The Stormers.
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 Beer Nights, Your Girlfriends Cheer for Us.
Girlfriends.
Beer Knights.
Free Agent Squad, The Spanish Inquisition.
Squad.
Spanish Inquisition.
Zidane L'a Frappé, Cavalier du Rohan.
Yeah, Rohan boys.
Yeah, Rohan.
Glory Boys, Killer Rays.
Killer
Killer
Rays.
Rays.
Primetime, West Island Boys.
West Island boys.
Prime time.
The Off Island Boys, Stratton Oakmont.
Off Island.
Thunder Buddies, Team Poland.
Thunder Buddies.
Thunder Buddies.
Lionhearts, V-Town.
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 Flamingos, The Step Bros.
Step Bros.
Step Bros.
The Penetrators, Henry Pisagang.
Henry.
Penetrators.
Dusters 2.0, Maccabees.
Ooh.
Good game.
Dusters, but I hope that Maccabee fan comes out, man. He was fun to watch.
Maccabee.
Toon Squad, Big Fat Bats.
Toon Squad.
Toon Squad.
F
Flag football team.
Betway Bandits, Brewers.
Betway, yeah.
Seventh Rounders, Wild Hogs.
Wild Hogs.
7th rounders.
All right, 35 plus,
Some
FPF, JMJ.
FPF.
FPF.
And Brody Windsor, Pacemakers.
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 Small week in that division. Co-ed 1,
Thank God.
Bishop Sycamore, Power Rangers.
Sycamore.
Power Rangers.
I'm going Sycamore. Upset
Okay.
week here.
All right, Easy Fun, Party Mix.
Party mix.
Ooh,
That's
party
a good
mix. It's going to be close, but party mix.
Yeah.
Average and Savage, Sriracha Hot Chili Sauce.
Sriracha.
Then Co-ed 2, La Secte, Kiss My End Zone.
La Sect.
Kiss my hands on.
I'm going La Sect, baby.
A sect has never beaten Kiss my hands on.
They're going to beat them this week.
Alright, we'll see.
3 Hunas, Team Commando.
3 hunters.
Hunters.
And Y&Y, Fit Squad.
Wine.
Why?
Lastly,
No, Fit Squad. Fit
women's division, Red Nation, Strangers.
Squad. Strangers.
Yeah, strangers.
And then doubleheader, Strangers, Volts.
Volts.
Concordia, Brut.
Brut, unfortunately.
Concordia. I think they're going to come up big.
I hope so. They're my alma mater.
Yeah.
So I hope they win.
The Rock, Flamand Rose.
Flamand
Rose.
And last but not least, Bleu Pou versus Les Bleus.
This should have been the game of the week, by the way. I'll go with Le Bleu.
I'll go with Blue Put.
And we're done.
All right.
We actually did it. And there's more music to play. So we're just going to hit here in
So
silence as it
tired.
How much?
finally wraps up.
How long was this show?
We're at an hour and 59 minutes and 27, 28,
Great.
29,
So-
our show.
30 seconds
Objectively not as good.
So 2
by
hour
an hour and a half.
2 hour show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's objectively not as good.
Okay, so a reminder again. Another thing to look out for, guys. We're at the halfway point for most teams, if not past that. You need 5 for the adult league. For for women's, you need 4 to be playoff eligible. So keep that in mind as you might add a mercenary to your roster for the stretch run. 5.
Also, I hope it'll be up soon. The updated roster regulations and administrative rulebook. We made a couple changes to clarify a few things, including an update to the IR rule. So if you're a team looking to take advantage of that, you should probably give it a read. We fixed a couple.
And if you're trying to take advantage of it,
You definitely
Good
want
luck.
to give it a read. Yeah.
Afterwards.
We fixed a few loopholes from our last time around and clarified a few things and changed a little bit of the goals of the IR program. So definitely go check that out, and we can talk a little bit more about it when it's officially published.
Magic words, please.
there were 4 defenders right there.
Good night, Italy.